Hey guys, how's it going? So, today I figured we could just save the rest of the Lantern Rite quests and play them on stream. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the rest of the Lantern Rite on stream. We did the first part and played some of the events. But overall, I keep talking about how I'd like to stream more Genshin, and I'm not much of like an exploration streamer. So, I figured why not, we'll save them all up, do the second through third parts on it. Especially since the Lantern Rite, for me, is right up there with like Golden Apple Archipelago, where I think it's just one of the events that they put so much care into each year, and you can tell. And we get really fun amounts of lore. But there are a lot of stuff to, I still haven't explored all the new area. Even Star with Penacony I found... Why is my map not moving? There we go, sorry. I've noticed even with like Penacony, they've added more of that exploration aspect. And I think it's just easier to stream some Star Rail stuff just because of the repetitive game modes, because I really enjoy Simulated Universe. I was on my break, I think, when Swarm Disaster came out. But we played a lot of Golden Gears, done a few streams dedicated to it. And super fun stuff, and I'm sure they'll add more of it. I really do wonder if they're ever going to bring back that kind of similar style roguelike into Genshin. It's one of those many things that I just wonder if they chose not to do because of the style. I think that turn-based games just have more competition in the gacha genre and in general. Whereas there's not much competition for Genshin, but there's so much, like... Oh, 8 to 12, oops. But there's, like, different things you can do with different game genres. So, a little bit different. I did enjoy that mode when they did it in Genshin, probably like a year or two ago now. But I don't know if I remember it being quite as, like, cohesive. I just skipped Paimon's dialogue, oops. I don't know if I remember it being quite as cohesive as, how it is in Simulated Universe, just because, again, getting buffs between fights and stuff like that just works better in Star Rail. And to be fair, they do something similar to that with almost every big event, where they'll have some kind of modifier for attack rounds. Anyway, don't know why, but the first few loading screens when I boot up Genshin are always a little slow. Alright, so we're in the second part here. If I recall correctly, I can't remember if we went out to the village with Gaming. It's only been like a week. Okay, I think we did go help him. Now we're going to see Dim Sum. Not see Dim Sum, have Dim Sum, sorry. Yeah, let's see what goes on here.
Oh, you're here early.
I think usually it takes about 30 minutes to do each part of this though, so it'll still probably be a shorter stream. I know there's a new part of the event minigames though that's gated by quest.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like we have tea a lot when we're in Liyue specific. What's that face?
Wait, you weren't supposed to drink that, Paimon.
Oh, I guess it wasn't tea?
That was for you to rinse your utensils.
Oh.
That's a thing?
Was it just warm water? Or was it tea? That's one thing I'm not super sure on, like, how that all works. I think experiencing different cultures, though, is always really cool.
Wow, so much delicious food. Do you really eat all this just for breakfast?
That's just how we do it where I'm from. Most of the time, though, I don't.
Gaming seems nice, though.
Oh, that's good to hear. Paimon doesn't need to worry about holding back then.
I think he's another example, though, of a character that we knew, like, nothing about going back into Liyue. And that's what makes, I think, without leaks, it's so hard to predict what's coming up. Because, like, Cloud or Tanner or Baishu were examples of Liyue characters we knew we'd get eventually. I don't think we knew anything about Yelan, did we? In advance? And it just makes it easier to plan wishes. But I know some people really don't like leaks, and that's fair. And a lot of the time, they're wrong. I still always point to the first leaked version of Heizo, where it looked almost like a male Hu Tao. I remember just in design. And I'd have to look it up, because the problem is now when you look up, like, original design Heizo, I think it still just shows up with the current one. But that's one, and Kuki Shinobu actually was another one. That the original design looked very different from the quote-unquote leak. And it's interesting too, right? Because we know now with Dottoro's puppets why it is. But the original design for Dottore did not look nearly as, like, slick. As the version we actually get and the one we meet. Because the original version, he wore like a Phantom of the Opera mask in that Genshin manga that kind of told Kale's backstory.
To this awesome restaurant and ordered a whole table full of expensive dim sum just for the three of us. Well, you must
You
be
know,
hiding the
I know
fact
that
you
Leo is
some
based off
young
China,
master from a rich
but
family.
I'm Korean American.
Explain why you try
I
to
was
keep
adopted
your
as a
friends
baby,
and
so I
family
don't
away
know
from
much
each
about the
other.
culture. But my mom lived in Korea for 2 years, and my grandpa actually served in the Korean War. But
using
my
me with
mom said in
Shinjo?
Korea it's very common that,
Huh?
you know,
Shinjo?
people are very
You sure know a lot of
humble and
people.
generous, but,
Hmm.
you know,
Well,
very
when you're on
respectful.
the
I think
road as much
that's
as I am, you hear all sorts of
really
rumors.
cool. I know
Sometimes they're true,
Korea in
sometimes they're
particular
not.
has changed a
What
lot
it comes
over
down to
the
is being able to tell the difference.
past few decades, though,
More
because she
often than not,
went,
that means knocking
I
on
think
some
it would have
doors
been
to
like the
find out for
80s or
yourself.
90s when she was there. And,
Oh, you
to be
truly
fair, though,
are a man of
every
many
country in the world,
talents,
just the
young
world in
Master
general, has
Young.
really progressed in the past
Okay,
couple
enough with the
decades.
teasing.
I grew up in like the,
Sorry to burst your bubble, Paimon, but
when was it?
you're wrong about my family situation.
Oh, this is serious talk, though. But yeah, I grew up in like,
Something there.
I graduated high
My
school in
dad is just an
2016.
ordinary tea merchant.
I grew up when like
Small
Wi-Fi was
scale
still
stuff,
becoming
you know.
new. I had an
It wouldn't even
iPod
make sense
Nano.
to mention his business in the same breath as the Feiyun Commerce Guild. My dad,
Those dads just tea
he
merchants.
always wanted me to inherit
But it kind
the
of goes
family
back to that
business,
same, I think
to be
it's
a
cool, that
merchant like him.
generosity, that
But
kindness.
that's just not who I am.
Because if he's not from like a wealthy
It's not what I
family,
go work
paying
to be.
for a meal can mean a lot. I'm broke. When I go out with friends, it's a... I'm not a rich man.
Have you ever talked to him about it?
But
You know, about your interests and aspirations and stuff.
I really like the wholesome characters they bring into here, though. I know characters like Wanda are
Of course
really
I have.
popular.
I told him I wanted
And
to
I
be a
still think
Wushu
he got
dancer,
such a good redemption arc,
but I wanted
but
all of Tevat to see what I could do.
I don't know. And to be fair, like,
To
Yo
my
and Me is
dad,
really
though,
popular as well.
That wasn't a real job.
And she's like the epitome of sunshine,
It's a
right?
pipe dream.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm sure he thought I would come around eventually, but Wushu dancing has always been the
I think
only
that's very
thing I
common
wanted
in
to do.
every, like, everywhere, though, is when people start up a small business, especially, they want their
He tried to
children
get
to
me to
inherit
visit
it
some
because
other
it's
tea
something that
merchants
they've
to
worked
start
really hard on.
building the right relationships.
But people are their own individuals, you know?
I refused to go.
Like, my brother works
We
at
got
the
into a
same company
huge
as my
fight.
dad,
We were this
although it's
close
not a
to
company
throwing
he owns,
hands.
you know?
In
But
the
the
end,
other
I was
5
so
siblings,
angry that
including
I
myself, work in
ran away
completely
from
different
home.
fields.
I haven't been back
And that's
since.
okay.
Our
Our
don't get on my
differences are what
case
make
just
us
yet,
unique
okay?
and what makes the world
It's not like I
fun.
think I'm completely without fault. No,
But,
I know that it wasn't the right way to go about things. But my dad's stubborn. No matter how hard I tried to convince him, it just
so it looks
went
like
in
this
one ear
might,
and
there
out
might
the
have been a
other.
fallout here, I'm
There was no
guessing.
changing his mind.
The second part here and the third part I
I
know
knew
came out a
talking wouldn't
while
get me
ago.
so far, but
It's just if I want to
if
do
made it
each
big,
part
it'd be even
individually, it'd be
harder.
like 30-minute
The
streams
results could
usually.
speak for themselves.
Maybe a little longer, but
But I'm sure
we'll
you
see.
both already know how that's going.
Wushu dancing.
Wushu
I'm
dancing's
surprised
just
it's not
that
that
big
big.
in
I don't
Harbor.
know what style of
In the
dancing
past,
it
I would
is,
go door to door
but for
store
how
to
like
store,
popular,
asking if they
I
are
guess
interested in
Yinyan's
hiring
not
a
super
performer.
popular, right? But like
Most times,
how
it wound up being
popular
nothing but humble
Yunjin's
pie.
performances are.
And you can't just rely on dreams to put food on the table, right? So I found a job as a guard to make some money.
Okay. This is
And now I
actually
have
what a
enough
lot
to
of
get
people
by,
do
and
though, and
that's
it makes sense.
Still,
Like when I grew up and when I went to my
change
first
takes time.
semester in college,
take it
after I
slow, you
auditioned
know?
into a vocal music
Paimon
program,
understands.
I wanted to be a singer. But because I didn't have that
Okay,
will or
enough of all
patience to
that
become like a
serious talk.
teacher and have that
Our
background
tea's been
and
cool.
kind of fall back,
Ooh, let's do something fun this
I've
afternoon.
realized that
What do you
it's
say,
smarter,
huh?
I think, to get
I'll
like
organize.
something you can take care of yourself. That's always top priority.
Kinda already have plans this
I think one of my
afternoon.
biggest like role models on that is a family friend that we've known for like longer than I've been alive. Is a doctor, but he still does a lot of like
Oh?
theater and acting, and
Are you
I think he's
interested in
acted in
pipe
like,
making, Gummy?
I guess I shouldn't
no,
say like the
it's just
name
that
of
I
the
happen to
place, but
know
like
Auntie Shin.
one of the biggest like theaters in the area. And like he's got a lot of experience and he enjoys it.
That title certainly
But what works
humanizes
for
her a bit.
people, you know, works very differently. I think it's
Oh,
easy
I know
to see
that
like,
she's
you
an
know, all
adeptus.
sorts of
I
celebrities,
met her during a
YouTubers,
delivery
streamers,
once.
and think that's the way you
But
gotta make it
hasn't she
work.
been in the city lately?
But everyone's
She's
situation
even
is different.
tried, with some
And that's kind of the
limited
beauty in
success,
life.
to change her terms of self-address or something
Anyway, I
like that.
feel like I keep going on
She
these
came to see
random
me a few days
ramblings
ago
while
to
we're
ask about
watching
moving
story.
S&Ps. Oh, wait a second.
But my thoughts
She
just
doesn't
kind of
plan on
wander.
putting those on a kite, does she?
Is that
My brain works in
something
like
you can
comparisons
do?
like that too.
It's one thing to use it on cloth, but
Hmm.
applying it to paper is another matter entirely. Why couldn't she tell me what she wanted them for?
Interesting.
Yeah, she does
I wonder what other characters from Leo will meet, or maybe from other regions
It'd be
as well.
such a shame if everyone worked
It's not
so
exactly
hard to
unheard of
create
for like
someone
Venti
make
to
it
wander
ruin
down, you
everything.
know? Or even on the poetry
I'll go
event, who
with
was
you.
it that came
If Auntie
down?
Xianyun wants to use
Noelle
those guys in a
and
kite, the formula will need
was
to
it
be changed.
Bennett and
Great, the more the
Mika?
merrier.
Might have just been Mika. But just super cool lore, you know? Getting to see all these characters meet. I'm trying to think of like characters that I think would be really cool to have meet. Like, like kind of similar characters even. Like you wonder what happened. I don't know if canonically we've had Wander re-meet with A that I can remember. I know they have voice lines about each other. I think Nouvelette and Zhongli would be really funny to see. Maybe even like some of the Adeptus with Yai. I know Ganyu specifically has had a lot of interactions with Yai. At the very least through like voice lines and such. But it'd be interesting to like Mr. Dad jokes with someone else. I don't know. I just think those little interactions are fun, and it's something that like gacha games especially are able to do because there's so much focus around just the gameplay and the, you know, I don't know, lottery on top of it. I think I'd heard someone describe this game as like Breath of the Wild with a casino on top. But to be honest, I know it's a big point for like people. Like I'm just as guilty, right? I'm a big completionist in games. So not getting every character kind of bugs me, but at the same time, you know, it's just kind of what happens with each game. Like I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm and I still only own like half the characters. Oh, poor Ganyu.
Ganyu,
Oh, it's Yao Yao.
Ganyu! Come on, wake up! Some friends have arrived.
Oh, and Shen He.
Hello, friends.
Poor Ganyu. I feel that on an emotional level. You just
Ganyu!
never enough hours in the day.
Perhaps we should try that. A guest at Wanmin restaurant recommended it to me. I've tried it. Its stimulative
oil.
effects are much stronger than what can be achieved from chewing on mint leaves alone.
You know, funnily enough, I had a sibling that for a while, and I don't know if it ever worked. They had peppermint oil. And when they were having a hard time sleeping, they would, like, put a little bit on their hand or something. And just that, like... I don't know how to describe it. I tried it once, and it was weird.
Apologies in advance.
Oh, no. Is she just gonna... She put it on her horns?
Wait, Shenhe?
Why the horns? Can she smell it if it's on her horns? I would assume, like, right, like mint-smelling oil would be effective at helping you stay up because of the, like, the scent. Or maybe the tingly feeling. Like when you chew, like, I don't know, orbit gum. Is orbit gum still a thing? Oh. I
See? It worked. She's awake.
feel like we could have just let her sleep, though.
Okay, Ganyu. Do you need some water? Or maybe something to eat?
What a nice kid, too.
I'm fine.
Yaya's one of those
I
kids
just
that's, like,
feel
super responsible, you can
chilly
tell.
all
I know
over.
she's not real, but, you know. Just wholesome.
Huh. Was it that effective?
I think it's just her horns.
Master always says a cool head leads to a calm heart. So, does this mean that heat's what we need to help you, Ganyu? Paimon doesn't think that's what the expression means exactly.
I feel a bit better now. Was I asleep? Must have been around the time I usually take my midday nap.
She always talks about
Did
how,
you
like,
not sleep
sensitive her
last
horns
night?
are. I wonder if it's, like,
That
the
does
equivalent
seem
of
to
sticking
happen to
someone's
you
hand in
often.
warm water when they're sleeping or something.
Perhaps you should come work at Wanmin restaurant.
Although I guess the
with me.
purpose behind that
We
is...
get off at 10 on the dot every night.
maybe
without
not. I
fail.
take that back.
I could never. I'm sorry. I seem to have missed your name. You are...
Oh, for a second she was looking at Shenhan. I was like, what?
My name is Gaming. I work as a guard for the Secure Transport Agency.
Gaming.
If a friend who's known you for a
name
long
sounds
time suddenly
familiar.
turns at you and says, what's your
I
name
believe
again?
I've heard your name mentioned around the Ministry of
Like,
Civil
in a
Affairs.
serious way?
People tell me you're an
Might be a bit of a
extremely
cause for concern.
enthusiastic worker, and you are very generous with your help.
Well, you know me. Or, I guess you don't.
My name is Ganyu. This is Shenhe. And this is Yao Yao.
It's an honor to finally
I've
meet
always
you all.
wondered though, are these just
Oh,
like decorations,
be
or do
here
they
for
have
Auntie
like
Shenyan's
bells? Usually have a
ice-making
design
workshop,
like this
right?
with like a little metal ball on the side, right? So it rings. Is it just a decoration, or does she
I've
actually like
never
every
made
time
nor
she
flown a
moves her
kite
head,
before.
it just makes
As long as Master is willing to teach,
sound? I
I'm
think that would
willing to
actually
learn.
make me go insane.
Me too. I want to participate in the kite flying competition with my best friend.
Oh,
Plus,
that's right, the
it's
kite
more
flying.
meaningful if you make the kite yourself, right? Your best friend didn't come with you?
Who's your best
Well,
friend?
Chi-Chi's
Oh, right,
been
Chi-Chi.
super busy helping Dr. Baiju lately. I'll meet up with her later and give her a huge surprise.
Chi-Chi's story is one of those that I really do wonder
With me today.
if they're just gonna
It's
kind of
easy to
leave it
cut
where there
yourself when
is.
working with bamboo,
Sorry, leave it
so
where it is
I thought
and
I should come
never
prepared.
explain
Wow,
more about
you're
it.
really thoughtful.
As for
You know,
myself,
like Baiju as well,
I'm
right?
afraid I lack some of my companions' enthusiasm.
Just
I was
makes you wonder if
originally
we'll ever
planning
see
to
like
buy
a solution to
ready-made
their
kite and
problems,
just enjoy the festive city atmosphere
or
with everyone.
you know, if they'll just kind of leave it be till the
But
end of the
Cloud
story.
Retainer is always going out of her way to look after her juniors, wanting us to have the best there is. She always puts us before herself.
Huh.
It was so thoughtful of her to arrange this workshop, so I simply couldn't let such consideration go to waste. My motivation for being here might be a little different, yes.
Well,
But I'm ready
sometimes
to
just
put in
being there
just
for
as much
someone,
effort as everyone
for
else.
something they might be excited for, it means a lot.
Here, but where the heck
You know,
is Shinyu?
you don't necessarily have to be interested in yourself. Like,
Who is it that speaks
Oh.
of oneself in such an
wait, who's that with?
ill-tempered
Oh, it's her.
tone?
It's I can't remember her name.
Clearly heard Paimon. Master stopped
Oh,
to find
Shuyu.
grilled tigerfish to share with everyone. Come get it while it's still warm. Oh, Paimon, sorry, Miss Illuminated.
So I've been confused though after Cloud
Cloud
Retainer's story quest, when she talked about how like the crane could eventually ascend to becoming an Adeptus. How does that work with humans? I've always been blurry on the line with Shenhe, because I could never tell if her like supernatural strength, right, that's held back by the red ropes, was that affected at all? You know, was she always that strong? Was it like she trained and became stronger? Was she strong because of that? To be fair, I'm pretty sure they've explained that one and I just can't recall off the top of my head.
It appears that we've ended up with quite a few participants indeed. Go ahead and divide yourselves into small groups. The materials are over here. The regular dyes and luminescent ones have been clearly marked. Use them as you see fit.
This really does evoke memories
As
though
for
of like
how to
going
make
back
the
and
kite,
doing stuff.
one assumes you
I
all
remember as a
made sure
kid,
to
my
listen
grandpa
to the
took a couple of my
instructions one
cousins and I to
provided
Home
when we were
Depot.
eating.
I don't know if they still
Yes.
do this,
Are there any
but they had little
questions?
workshops where you could build like a football-shaped stool or stuff like that, and you'd go in and it was just a few pieces that you'd hammer together, and then we went back home and we stained the wood with that like special stuff that they put on like desks and stuff, and it was super good memory. I had a lot of like craftsman memories like that with my dad and my grandpa,
One will wait under
and then my
this tree and
grandma
avail
on that
oneself of
side
cool
was the
air
one who taught me how to
beyond
like quilt and
digest.
sew.
Do not hesitate to seek one's company.
But it's those little
if you have any
things that are like,
trouble,
they mean a lot.
questions, or simply want to chat.
We're not in any hurry to get started. Why don't we go see what the others are up to?
Talk to people. I will say, as nice as he is, I have such a hard time. I know it's pronounced Gaming too. And I wonder if this is like... I don't know much about names from like other countries, right? But it's not like the first time, right, that a word from one language sounds like something else in another. But just gaming. I just...
Hey, Gaming.
Oh,
Want to
jeez.
team up?
Huh? But I have to participate? I thought I'd be done for the day after adjusting the dye formula.
But I know there's some names even in like English that are, they translate to actual words in other languages. I actually think,
No, it's not that.
in a lot
It's
of
just-
languages too, they name them based on things that matter. Like sorry, not that
It
matter,
wouldn't
but
take
like
too long to
concepts or
explain.
something like that.
I guess
Like
I'll
my
just pick
sister
one then.
has a daughter that she named,
What shape should we go with?
yeah, I guess it's
How
fine.
about
Well,
a
she named it after the Korean word for hope. I guess you could look that up and find, like,
What do you think, Shuyu?
I'm usually
Is there a
careful with what I
particular
say
design you
with
want?
stuff like that,
I
but
want a Swanee.
really cool.
That might be a little hard to pull off.
True, but I still want to
And I guess
try.
even here, you know, you
They're
have people named
super
like
cute.
Melody is one that you hear.
Okay, it's decided then.
Hope is actually a name, right?
Auntie Cloud Retainer, look! Am I doing it right?
Very good. Your frame is nice and sturdy. This design, is it a finch?
Yep.
One is looking forward to seeing your
It really
finished
is like a
product.
grandma
What color are you going to
with a
make it,
grandchild. That's
Yaya?
sweet.
I haven't decided yet. If I make it blue, it'll be more like my friend. But if I make it gold, it'll be more like me.
If you are asking for one's own opinion, one would advise choosing gold. When giving a gift, the key consideration is the recipient's feelings, is it not?
Okay.
One imagines your friend would much prefer a kite that reminds them of you.
Especially with
Okay,
Chi-Chi
I
struggling
never told
with
you the kite was for Chi-Chi.
memory.
How did
you know.
With age,
And with Chi-Chi, it
comes
just makes me a
wisdom
little bit
and
bittersweet, like happy
one
but sad when
simply
she
has a
really
way of
starts to remember
knowing
people like the
things.
Traveler.
Oh, cool.
Because she forgets so
Big
much that she
Auntie
like
Cloud
writes it down,
Retainer.
right?
I'm gonna start painting
But
it
when she
gold
starts to
right
remember
now.
without it, it
Good.
just means you mean a
One
lot to
will
her.
watch. You two seem strangely unoccupied. One was under the impression that one was supposed to be doing the relaxing. Is your kite finished?
Oh, we actually haven't started yet, but we're going to start, right now.
I made this workshop just for you guys to make kites, and you're not even making one? And apparently we're not going to do it now, we're gonna go talk to Ganyu and Shenhe.
Shenhe, it would be great if you could refrain
I was
from
wondering
putting
about
things
that.
on my horns from now on. They're really quite sensitive.
I see. My apologies. I shall remember that in the future.
Thank you. No harm done.
Good. Could I touch them just once more, though? No oil or anything this time. I've just always wondered what Miss Ganyu's
I do
horns
too.
feel like.
Do they feel like a stereotypical horn?
Please, I told you. Just call
I
me
don't really
Ganyu.
know,
Well,
what the basis is
All
behind
right.
Qilin.
just be gentle.
Firm to the touch with no discernible temperature.
Oh no.
Oh, not unlike certain medicinal plants I've eaten.
She's not gonna try and eat Ganyu's horns,
Still,
is she?
Ganyu appears to be shaking like a cat whose whiskers have just been touched.
She's like super perceptive when it comes to stuff like that, though. It's interesting.
See. Then
They've
I'll
given
fly the oil
Shenhe a
to your
surprising
forehead next
amount
time.
of character development, though, for a character that still
I'll just
acts relatively
Refrain
similar,
from
you know,
taking afternoon naps
to when we
outdoors.
first met her.
Anyway, we should probably get started on our kite. It won't be long before Cloud Retainer comes to check on our progress.
I do just think certain types of characters, though, are easier to give development, to be
Perhaps we
fair.
should just choose the most traditional style.
You know, like a character who's generally... Like, we see Venti a lot, and I love Venti, but
Getting along swimmingly.
I feel like Venti
What's
needs
that
less
with
character
your
development because he's at ease with who he is, he's been around for a long time, he enjoys traveling and drinking, as opposed to, like, say, A, who's really struggling with the past when we first meet her, and she has to kind of come to terms with that. I actually have always wondered if that's why, as far as the, Can you see the completed ones? Am I crazy? Oh, you know what? I think it's in this, isn't it? Yeah. I actually have wondered if that's why Venti only has one when, you know, regardless of whether you count Farina or, I guess not counting the Fontaine ones because they're so, regardless of who you count, you know, they're so new. But when, I think it was Yo and Mia got her second character quest, people joked about Venti not getting his. But of all the Archons, I feel like he's the one who from the very start was the most happy with where he was. But it could just be like a history lesson, right? Zhongli's first one was literally talking about like ancient war long gone by.
First, we have to decide on the shape. Hey, what do you
We're
like?
gonna shape it like Paimon. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not a completely crazy idea. If
And by that I mean we're just going to tie a string to Paimon and she'll fly. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the most realistic looking kite you've ever seen.
Maybe we're not exercising enough artistic license. We
The
should
guardian
exact
angel of
it.
travelers, huh?
How about this? The word Paimon means the guardian angel of travelers.
I really am so interested to see what happens with Paimon in the long run, because there have been theories literally for like 3+ years since the start of Genshin. Oh my...
Now, what expression
Oh,
should we give
jeez.
her? Since the kite is going to be flying super high in the sky.
Do we get to choose? She should look pleased, she should look afraid, or guilty. So she's terrified of blowing away. She stole some food. Or she's happy. You know what? I feel like so many people are mean to Paimon. Let's be nice.
The title of champion kite flyer.
I guess she just like never really bothered me though, to be fair. I know a lot of people, especially over time, you know, aren't the biggest of fans, but let's see. Yeah, sure.
Now that we've decided, let's make it happen.
Hmm.
It's done! Paimon has to say, Kai Paimon might even rival real Paimon in terms of cuteness. Now we just
I don't
have
know
to
if they
attach
just
the
like...
string,
I
right?
guess to be fair, if you were always going to make it
Gather
Paimon
around,
shaped,
everyone.
it would probably be that shape, but it looked a little bit like wide.
Shinyan's
I don't
calling
know
us.
if that's just me. What was the event? I think it was Albedo that we did something similar. That depending on your choice, they would draw. I like events like that.
Let one take a look.
So we have one probably reminiscent of Yao Yao. Ooh, that's cool.
Ganyu and Shenhe made a scissor
Yeah, the
tailed
finch.
swallow. It's so pretty.
I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
scissor. They just said it.
Coloring makes it look a lot like
As I'm
Master.
wondering.
If the tail wasn't split in two like that, it might even be a spitting image. If you look
Yeah,
closely,
I mean-
there are a few spots where the colors go outside the lines. Did you doze off?
You don't have
on
to call
paper?
out Ganyu like that. She's always
I
tired.
did the painting.
Oh.
I stared at the paper for quite some time, but I simply could not recall the coloring of any
Okay.
bird. Except Master. Or should I say that I'm too familiar with her
The
crane
crane
form?
form, huh?
Even when she stands before us in human form, all I can see is blue and white.
Huh. That must make her happy.
Oh, well, now that you mention it, Paimon can see it too.
Exactly. So I simply
she
closed
closes
my
her
eyes and
eyes?
painted from memory.
That's impressive.
No way. You
Yeah.
can paint with your eyes closed? Wow. The disciples of Adepti really are something.
You are most filial, Shenhe. One is flattered by the likeness.
The Swanee that Gaming and Shuyu made looks very majestic.
Swanee is what
I'm
it's
sure
called.
it'll look even more impressive as it soars through the
Is that what
sky.
they're called though? Like I remember
Eyes and ears glow in the dark.
you always see
so
like
you're
those
sure to
really
see it at night. Your golden
what's
finch
it
is cute too,
like I'm trying to even
Yao-Yao.
remember to describe.
It's all thanks to
But
Auntie
I know like
Carver's
Eastern
latest
dragons
guidance.
compared to Western dragons are like the longer
What about
body
your
and
kite,
form, right?
Its
Oh,
self-important
boy.
countenance bears a striking resemblance to that of its namesake.
It makes her look like she's already
That's such
won
a
the
meme.
competition. Well, that's gonna happen one way or another.
Oh boy.
Is that the Jade Chamber?
Oh, that's pretty
Oh.
neat. Why is it just flying by itself? I think they talked about like some device or oh yeah, that's probably what it is.
Dares attempt such a flagrant display
make
of
it fly.
impropriety by releasing
At that
a
point
kite
though,
into
isn't it
one's
just like a
territory
drone
without
rather than a
one's
fight
permission?
a kite?
Oh, and to do so by making use of this crude piece of mortal machinery.
Okay, well whoever did it is about to get it.
One simply must know who it is that possesses such impertinence.
Yeah, there she goes.
Continue attaching the strings, everyone. One will be but a moment.
Okay, so we're just using the strings to fly them,
Cloud Retainer?
but
Traveler, Paimon, could I trouble you to go after Cloud Retainer?
why?
Master's going to be okay.
What's she gonna do?
right?
Beat someone up over a kite?
I'm more worried about the person who released the kite.
Okay, you know what? To be maybe that is a very valid
There's one up
concern.
ahead. Looks
Oh, we got the kite? That's a funny little souvenir. They do a good job. Where is it? Is it not here? They do a good job of giving you, like, the, those little Easter eggs that you can keep. Press forward. Maybe it's a piece of furniture. Those little, like, keepsakes, I think, are always so neat. Even if it's just, like, a small in-game item, like... Sometimes I see some of them and I just kind of smile. And there's cool little companions like these bubbles, too. Or I think it was called the Shiki Taisho. The little, like... From that event, you can get the little... I think it's an Oceanid. She flies fast. That's not the button I did. It's right here. Wait, what's right here?
This spontaneous device of
No
mechanical
way.
motion is quite curious indeed.
Now is hardly an opportune time for
Oh,
your use.
jeez.
Someone among us was not sufficiently attentive, and now
You know, that makes sense, but I didn't think about
Calm
that.
yourself. Do you have any recollection of its last location?
If they're over here, though, they flew that kite
One believes it
far.
drifted in the direction of Mount Outsong. Perhaps it is mere happenstance, but one feels a certain sense of dread at the thought.
Your concern is misplaced, surely.
How did we get here before Cloud
Retainer is either in the
Retainer?
city looking after her disciples, or secluded in her abode attending to her research. She will not notice that kite.
Yeah, that is some
On the
bad luck.
subject of said kite, however, one simply must remark on the genius of its windless lift technology. One cannot help but surmise that its ingenuity rivals that of Cloud Retainer's creations.
Don't let her catch you
Still
saying
my
that.
tongue.
Yeah.
If Cloud Retainer were to hear you profess such a thing, we can both say farewell to any further use of the Supreme Cuisine machine.
Did she take it with her into... Oh,
presumes that this kite belongs to you.
just feign ignorance. That's all you gotta
We are in
do?
a situation
Feign
which we are now
ignorance.
confronted.
It'll work out.
This is all your fault.
Well, don't look so guilty either.
One's fault. One seems to recall that releasing the kite was no solitary endeavor.
Mountain Shaper blames Moon Carver.
Surely you can think of something to appease her.
He just opens the
Further
door,
explanation
kicks
shall
him under the
fan
bus.
flames of her wrath. It would be better to stay silent and retire at the earliest opportunity.
We can hardly avoid her forever. That may suffice during Lantern Rite. But what about the Moon Chase Festival? Sooner or later, she will discover our true identity.
I feel like she probably already knows.
Oh,
Go.
Even if they have like semi-NPC designs with a little bit of
Absolutely
flair,
not. You
he
retract.
probably knows.
That is not our kite.
I told you, feign ignorance.
oh. So an adeptus such as oneself is mistaken then?
Ah, you're an Adeptus? Please forgive us for any impropriety.
There's no way she doesn't
I
know.
truly possess no inkling of who could have released a kite into your esteemed domain. Pray, who could be responsible for such wanton behavior?
Verily, verily, we were but delighting in the surrounding scenery. This locale is home to such exquisite mint. Well, and if that's all, then we'll
Oh,
just be on our
jeez.
way.
We finally caught up. You sure do fly fast in your illuminated bird form, Shinyan. Mooncarver? Mountain Shaper? What are you doing here?
Way to blow their cover, Paimon. They were doing such a good job of feigning ignorance. No, I promise it's not our kite. We're the only two for like miles around in these mountains, but I promise it's not ours.
Okay, now Paimon's getting a weird vibe. Did she say something wrong?
It is of no consequence.
Yeah, I
Long
figured.
has one seen through their disguises.
There's no way.
I was simply curious as to how long they would keep up the act.
Although to be fair, in her character
you
quest,
are
we didn't
not
recognize
angry?
her. Until she spoke, right? It was the
How
Traveler and
could one
Paimon.
feel anger at the sight of two old friends enjoying themselves. One is also well aware of how enticing these city novelties can be.
We were simply consumed by a fit of festive spirit. Seldom do we get the opportunity to partake in the delights of the times. However,
But to be
we
fair,
are
is there
far from being
anything
as
stopping
adept
them?
as you
Especially
in
if they have
matters that
better
require
disguises, right?
adeptus
Like
craft.
Jianyan
No worthy kite
stands
can be
out,
born of
you
our
know, as opposed to these two that they really do
We
blend
can
in.
only take the convenient route,
I
so
feel
to
like we
speak.
don't see many NPCs with
Your
like
prowess
highlights in their hair,
mechanics
but
is unparalleled, Cloud Retainer. You wield the wind
and now they're going with the flattery.
Your singular talent stands unmatched across the land.
I've always wondered if these
Of
three are
this,
relatively equal
we are
in
well
power,
aware.
lore-wise, or, you know, where they
One
fall in
has
that
guests to
hierarchy.
attend to. We will have to convene again
That's another
some
thing,
other
right? Because I
time.
think it's always been implied that Zhao, especially, is one of the more powerful
Traveler
Adeptus.
Paimon, do try
Not
to
counting
keep up.
Zhongli, you know.
We're leaving already?
Oh, okay.
All this flying for places
She was
with
talking for such a long time about how lonely she was without her friends, and then she just leaves. It's okay, we're still only on the second of 4 quests. And I think it was last Lantern Rite that, you know, she was still in bird form the entire time, but they had like a meetup. It can definitely feel a little bit sad when you don't get to talk to friends for a long time, but life gets busy after a while, and it makes those few times you get to like hang out, you know, more meaningful.
They're back.
Paimon's pooped.
It's getting late.
Why are there
I have always really wondered, though, how long it takes to travel
After you
as
left,
well
I'll
canonically.
go and show you
Because I was
where
always
the
under the
Zap
impression
go
to
with their
take a
kites.
boat from Liyue to Inazumo was like at least a month.
Gao Ming offered to escort them home.
Before he left,
But it seems like you could
He
day
said
trip over
something
to
that I don't quite
Mount
understand.
Outsong. I think
Oh?
Kuching does it every
What
now
did
and
he
then.
say?
he said, "A kite is always tied down no matter how far it flies
Aw.
or how high it soars. Its tether prevents it from ever truly flying free."
Well, you could lose the kite. Then it
He
goes
looked
free.
quite dejected as he said this.
Aw.
Now that you mention it, Gao Ming did seem to have a rather strange attitude towards
Well, you know he
kites.
has some kind of strained relationship with his father now.
A reflection of himself. If I were a kite, I would cherish that tether as a symbol of
Well, everything is
kinship
point of view as
and the
well.
bonds that tie us, and
What seems one way to one person could be the complete opposite to another.
Shenhe?
Just because of the way they view things, their experiences and stuff.
it may be an
Not super
exceedingly
uncommon.
slim and distant connection. But lose it, and you lose that which links you to home. If Gaming truly sees a kite as a reflection of himself, then I fear I understand his words even less.
Well, people often have different points
Yeah,
of
see?
view depending
Ganyu
on their
agrees with
mindset
me.
and experiences, right?
He even talks about, yeah, their
It's actually
mindset
quite
and
normal.
experiences. Go
Just
figure.
like some people can eat spicy food, but others won't go anywhere near it.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why tolerance and understanding are as important as they are.
Yeah.
Tolerance and understanding? What brought about this conversation? Did one miss something?
We were just chatting. You don't have
Come
to
on.
butt in on every little thing, you know.
He always
What
so
were you anyway?
disrespectful.
One was merely doing a bit of cooking. Night fast approaches. If you are otherwise unoccupied, one would entreat you to stay and eat before you depart.
Oh, it's been
I've said it
so
once,
long since I've
and I'll
had the
say it
chance to
again.
enjoy
You
your
never
cooking,
turn
Cloud
down
Ritainer.
free food. That's the best price.
Worry
Okay.
not. One has prepared a variety of meat and vegetable dishes. One is more than familiar with everyone's culinary proclivities.
You know, I always mention how the Travelers just has just straight up gremlin options in Star Rail. I feel like there's always an option to either be just normal or just be mean to Paimon.
Shenhe, Ganyu.
I just feel kind of bad picking it.
Whoa, what's with all the secrecy? You're not trying to play favorites, are you? If you're ready to serve the food, we can help too.
The abode entrance. Oh, this must... Is this where the start of that domain is? I've always wondered if that's why they don't do as many... I think they still do them, right? But those one-time... I still haven't done this one. These one-time domains. Because, again, I talk about it with, like, why I think they don't tend to do, like, super detailed, unique NPC designs for every single person. And it's because it takes a lot of time and effort and resources. You know, it's not like this company I mean, this company's done really well, especially since making Genshin. And Star Rail and HI3 are both pretty successful as well. I'm not sure about their earlier games. I played them a little bit, but regardless, Genshin was, you know, #1 on most app stores and such for a long time. Like, you know, like people work really hard on stuff like that for it to be something you only do once. Like, I could feel it. Outside.
This
Is it food? Oh. Okay, never mind. I do still wonder if we'll see, like, Keqing and Ningguang's. I think Xingqiu has one as well.
I
Oh.
can feel the wind brushing against my legs. This is a bit embarrassing.
It looks great.
Is the headpiece secure?
I don't know. To be fair, though, I wear, like, a gym shorts and a tank top. And maybe, like, a hoodie everywhere I go. So, you know.
How do we look?
She asked them just like that?
You look great.
You look pretty too, Ganyu. Oh, how should Paimon put it?
It's interesting that, like,
So elegant and refined.
it's like dark blue is the theme for a lot of these outfits, right?
Given that one employed the services of the best tailor in all of Liyue,
Like, Ningguang's
one
and
would
Keqing's, I
expect
think, are
nothing
blue.
less.
I wonder if that's, like, a normal...
What colors have you been partial to lately?
Oh, she asked them.
Shenhe and
Okay.
Ganyu?
Lately? Why is Cloud Retainer suddenly asking about what colors we like?
I like black.
One is gratified to see one's disciple.
I know
has
so many
inherited one's own
artists,
taste.
like artist friends that are like, don't, like, black and white aren't technically colors. They're like, one's a shade and one's,
I've come to value recently.
there's some technical term.
And you, Ganyu?
And I am uncultured when it comes to drawing and
I
painting and all
favor
that
blue
stuff.
black.
And the material is sufficiently comfortable, yes?
Yes, very. I simply cannot thank you enough, Cloud Retainer, for this gift. And the kite, too.
Thank you, Master.
One is content, as long as you are pleased with the gift. One hopes these garments will see much use.
That's wholesome. I really do feel like most of the outfits we've gotten, though... I know over time we haven't gotten too many.
It's just getting better and better, Shin.
But haven't they all been, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, from Golden Apple Archipelago? Well, no, when was Deluxe?
And the meat inside is so succulent and sweet.
I'm trying to remember.
Paimon can't
Most of them,
tell
though,
me.
are Lantern Rite, I know.
Good thing Gaming isn't here. Or
I guess
Paimon
Barbara
would have
has
to use
one.
him for the food.
Barbara's
They
and
have
Jeans are from Golden Apple Archipelago. I believe so is Cleese. You know, we have Ningguang, Keqing, these two, and I believe Xingqiu this year as
Traveled all
well.
this way on account
All
of the
from Lantern
kite-making
Rite.
workshop, and he spent the whole afternoon looking after Shuyu. One was hoping to treat him to a meal. Oh well. One will just have to extend one's thanks in person.
It's rare for someone to make such a good impression on you, Cloud Retainer.
Oh, he's a respectful young man.
One has high standards.
Also, I think there's a voice line about him
He
being, like,
appears to
really
be a young
flattering to
man
her.
of much merit, and one is
Something
not
like,
the type who would
you
see
seem like a
such
wise and
potential
honorable elder.
squandered.
It appears that he wishes to break free from the kite string that tethers him.
Kite
Huh.
string? Huh. What strange metaphors you speak in, Shenhe. Ever since you returned from one mean restaurant, your turns of phrase render one at quite the loss.
I feel like every area, no matter where you go, has little things like that. Like, I didn't know that people didn't call soda pop until I was, like, 14.
One has only heard that
'Cause that's what we'd
the
always
two
call
are
it.
not on good terms.
Or I called dollars bucks. I don't know what the origin of this, but I remember the first job I ever worked was my aunt's ran a concession stand for a nearby baseball stadium,
Ran away, you
and they
say?
let us help
Huh.
when we were younger to earn a little bit of, like,
One
pocket
believes
money.
we would all benefit
And
from
I
more
remember going up to,
return.
I was working the front desk and I said, okay, that'll be like $1.50.
Okay.
And my aunt just turned and looked at me and just said, you should say $1.
What?
Ow.
This
One
shall
day I
not
won't
do.
kick my desk or headbutt my head or my mic.
Lantern Rite fast approaches. We must make haste. As one was contacting various tailors around Liyue, one could not help but be reminded of Menogius.
Who's Menogius?
He possessed a singular talent for clothing design.
I guess he's a
He had
tailor?
an exquisite eye, not just for fabric selection and color pairing, but also for what accessories could best accentuate a garment's overall style.
Fashion is another thing that I
At a
genuinely
gathering
could
for
not tell you
Deptar,
anything on.
Onanis once complained
Sometimes it just, like,
secretly to some of
just
the
straight up
ladies in
baffles me.
attendance that the skirt Menogius
Like, I know there's
made
actual, like,
was too
reasoning
long
behind it
and
most of the
hurt.
time, like color
Most of
schemes,
them
right, and
would only
accessories.
enter in battle.
But then there's other stuff,
However,
like,
when one
I had a
asked
friend that told me
Menogius'
for a long time
opinion,
about how, like,
he
big the
remarked that the
Supreme
trade of a
brand
skirt
was.
would serve to
And I never
enhance
got
an
it.
adepto countenance,
Like, I actually
thus
just never
signifying a
understood.
certain elegance. Menogius was that type of person. When it came to topics relating to garments and accessories, not even Rex Lapis could best his stubbornness. And later... one seems to have strayed off topic. One means to say
Be a
that
day of
Lantern
reunion.
Rite should be a day
You
of
talked the
reunion.
Moon Shape, or
It is a
Moon
time
Carver
to
and Mountain
address
Shaper for
problems
like
before
3
turning to
seconds.
regrets.
After we got like an entire character quest. And a bunch of other
Fate
dialogue
is
talking
fickle.
about how much
The
you miss
cruel
them.
reality of this world is that suffering and misfortune can befall any of us without design or reason. If there is a chance for young people to remain insulated from this reality,
That's part of it, you know?
one
You
do
should always
their
live your life
utmost
to the
make it
fullest.
so.
Not because, you know, something sinister is looming or anything like
Do you
that,
have
but
any ideas, Cloud Retainer?
life is too
Perhaps
short and we live in a
adepto
really
arts could be
beautiful
used.
world. You gotta make the most of it.
No. Mechanics, perhaps. One fails to see its use in a situation such as this.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Combining our efforts is a fine idea indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Aha! One has an idea. How about this? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah. No, I got that. Don't worry.
Oh, Paimon really hopes this works.
One's designs never fail. Now then, I counsel rest for all, and to make the necessary preparations. One shall see you in 2 days.
Okay. That's part 2. I don't know when the, So I know we played on stream as far as the little mini games go. If this decides it wants... There we go. We played the little Guoba thing. It was fun. It was a little mini game where you had, like, Guoba. It almost reminded me of Helltaker in that style. And this one was just another one of those fun little multiplayer games. I don't know what this is, though. We still have to complete a quest. Okay. We'll maybe do 1 or 2 of those once we get to that point. We do still have 2 more quests here with Lantern Rite. I just kind of like the idea of saving them all up and doing them together, even if it's like, by that point, a lot of people have seen them. Because to be honest, like, we're what, 45 minutes into the stream? Yeah, about. And we've done the entirety of the part that would have released, I think, last Wednesday. And there's nothing wrong with short streams. Once I sit down to stream, I like to stream for at least a couple hours. Just something that's enjoyable to do, though. Like, we'll see, though.
Time to carry out the plan.
Meet up with Gaming, huh? I wonder what other events we'll get before the end of, you know, Fontaine. Because I'd have a hard time imagining we're gonna get another huge area. I mean, we have 4 more patches, right? With how big this area is. You know, we've gotten, what, Enkanomiya, the Chasm. We might get maybe another, maybe big event, but I wonder what else they'll expand. Because I would assume, you know, I could be completely wrong, this will be filled out at some point. Maybe a little bit up and left. I believe I've heard that Snezhnaya is somewhere in the far north. And I have no idea where Natlan is. But we know, again, that Varka and his expedition team went somewhere north. So I've wondered if there's something else up here, and if that's Snezhnaya or something else. Because why would they go on an expedition into Snezhnaya? You know? They're gonna pick a fight with the Fatui. At that point, the Knights are like, you know, one of the biggest... They're essentially the military force of Mondstadt. If you just bring your military force into another nation, you're gonna cause some trouble. Although, to be fair, It is the Fatui. So, at some point, you know, I feel like they can't... It's the pot calling the kettle black, you know? I think is the old saying.
Paimon sees you've certainly gotten an early start this morning. Playing games already, are we? Who won this time? You the one buying dim sum again?
Hey, when you put it like that, it makes it sound like I'm always the one losing.
Ah, perfect. You're all here. There's an important
Long
commission I
show.
need your help with.
Can someone else do it?
All right, I've got the time. Where are the goods?
It's not just goods this time. I need you to escort a
Team-
team.
Oh,
of
is it his
Scanner
dad?
From Chaoying Village to
That's,
Liyue Harbor. A very important client has requested.
That's a bit
to meet with
awkward.
you.
Sure. What's this merchant's address?
Could you
Here.
imagine? You get a job like that and they just give you your home address? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was always
If
going to
the
be that.
client's that important, then this must be a very crucial, very pressing commission, right?
Of
I wonder if
course,
it'd be
the
like, I
sooner
don't know, if you were a
the
UPS
better.
delivery
I would
driver or
advise
something
you
like
to
that.
depart
I've
as
never
soon as
been, but like,
possible.
imagine you're a mail truck driver and they put you on your route. You stop by your house every day.
All right.
I wonder if for
don't
legal
worry
reasons
too
they
hard,
can't do
Yellow
that,
Joe.
though.
We'll
I
set
can't
up-
imagine why it'd be a problem, but still. There's a lot of, like, specific stuff around that, I know, with any, like, any occupation. Alright, what have we got? Go to the commission location. It's up here.
Take it easy.
At least they
You're a bit
teleported
quiet
us over
today,
here.
Gaming. Oh, do you want Paimon to tell a story?
Oh, I just cut off the dialogue. This is a pretty area, though. You know, like, I love the aesthetic of all the areas in Genshin, but I think Leo is one of just the coolest ones. I love, like, the mechanical design of, you know, Fontaine, because they're supposed to be, like, the land of the inventors. The desert versus rainforest contrast was cool, but they do a good job with it. Is that his dad?
Hello, you must be the tea merchant heading to Liyue Harbor.
You know, we never
What
did
can
do that
I
world
do?
quest. When I streamed the Jianyan character quest, we did like a tiny bit, got to the new area, and I realized it was going to be a very long world quest, and I never
Dad?
did it. Yeah, it is, okay.
Oh, so you're Gaming's father. It's nice to meet you. Just leave
Yeah.
this delivery to him. Trust Paimon, he's got this in the bag.
Did-
Gaming is super
Was
good at
Paimon not there when he
business.
described how strained his
Everyone at the
relationship
secret
with
transport
his father
agency
was?
says as much.
I could have
Even the
sworn she
Ministry of
was,
Civil
right?
Affairs has nothing but good things to say
Sometimes
about
there's like
him.
secret conversations
Seems like
between
you've
Lumine
made
and
some sort of
NPCs,
name
right?
for
But
yourself, at least.
I feel
the
bad
goods
for him.
Are all in order?
Yes, they're all here.
Then let's get going.
But I know in a lot of situations, right, like, succession is a very important thing for people.
A very important client has asked for you by name. You kind of have to come with us.
I wonder
Paimon
if
doesn't know how we would
it's someone
explain
we
ourselves
know.
if you just didn't show up. Plus, you'd be
You
missing
know?
out on a huge money-making opportunity.
I see.
Could it be like someone who just wanted really
I suppose
nice
I will
local
have to
tea?
trouble you all
Or maybe it's
to
someone who's
escort
trying to
me then.
orchestrate, like, hey, let's set up a meeting between
Let's go.
Gaming and his dad. I mean, tea. I keep hitting the wrong button on my keyboard. When I think about tea, though, I'm trying to think of who comes to mind. We're going to Wongshu Inn. I'd say Zhongli, but his whole thing is, you know, osmanthus wine. Which is ironic. Because the one who drinks the most is Venti.
We've been walking for so long. Is anyone tired? How
Okay.
about we stop and rest for a bit?
I'm fine.
You know, I'll be honest, I skipped another character at one point. I can't remember who, just so I could get the extra constellation on Yelan.
Bring 'em out so we
It
can
makes
talk.
exploration so much nicer. I've actually specifically thought about raising Sayu just so I could run Yelan Sayu and speed across the map.
This place looks nice and open.
Hmm.
Why don't you all rest here for a second?
Huh? What about you? You're not going to join us?
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not tired. I'll keep watch.
What?
Oh.
I guess treasure hunters, maybe. I don't think, to be fair, the
Just let him
Fatui...
go.
As far as I know, right, they don't just attack indiscriminately. I know we attack random NPCs and they aggro.
We'll just
But I feel like
share
treasure
with
hunters
ourselves
might be
then.
more guilty
Did
of
you
that.
know, Uncle Ip, that the flavor of these cakes changes depending on...
Halt! Who goes there?
Oh, that's a nice sword.
It appears that one's movements were overly conspicuous.
Why do these two keep
Enough
showing
of
up?
your musings. Focus.
On the
Focus
first
the
quest, I was
matter at hand.
complimenting, like, oh, they probably got more generic designs so they could blend in. And then they keep doing stuff like
Present your
this.
Exquisite ornaments at once.
What?
Indeed. Bring them forth readily and without protest.
Oh, no.
Ah! What do we do?
It seems as if these two are acting alone.
Maybe it was a setup just to kind of
It won't be difficult to
help
subdue them.
reconcile.
They might have something else waiting in store for Dad. The best way to keep him safe is...
The best defense
Leave
is a
this to
good
me.
offense.
I'll handle them.
Smack him upside the
Travel,
head.
Paimon. Take my dad and the goods away from here.
No, Gaming. It's too dangerous.
This is what I do.
Hmm. Okay, maybe this was the plan.
Thorny foe indeed. Let us depart and seek a target.
They just
with
run
modes
away.
and disposition.
Don't think I'm gonna let you off so easily.
Was that part of the plan?
Away. Let us away.
Gaming!
Don't worry, he's a great fighter.
Oh, no.
Paimon's even seen him take down a dozen or so
Oh,
treasure
jeez.
hoarders all by himself.
Yeah, vision holders in general are just, you know, head and shoulders, it seems like, above almost everyone else.
If he had just
Which is why
stayed
it's so
from
interesting to me
outside,
that we know
wouldn't
some of the Harbingers don't have visions or
He
delusions.
wouldn't have to put himself in such dangerous situations.
We just have to
Well,
trust
yeah, he's
him.
probably worried about him.
Go on ahead. We'd best get away
I
from
could
here,
imagine that,
in
though.
case there are
If we
other
lived in,
bandits
like,
the
a...
area waiting in ambush.
I don't know how to describe it, but, you know, a world wherein, like, being a mercenary
Always got a
was
plan.
more common, I guess I should say. I guess it still probably exists. It'd be a cause for concern.
Okay, we should
You'd
be
rather
safe
your
as
child be
long
like a
as
tea
he
vendor and
is.
be safe.
Youngly? Oh no, what is he doing here?
Oh, it is Zhongli. I was wondering. He's flying a kite?
Good sir, please,
I
listen.
bet Hu Tao made that.
Reel in your line and leave this place as quickly as you can. There are bandits in the area.
He sits down? Oh, okay, put it down.
Bandits? Acting in broad daylight?
Hmm. I actually think the relationship between Zhongli and Hu Tao is super wholesome.
Ah.
I've always wondered how she made enough money for him to spend so extravagantly, though, because I always was under the impression that that's why she was advertising.
Perhaps some tea and rest are in order.
But to be fair, if they're only, like, the only
No
funeral house in Liyue, you know?
Paimon's fine. She just had some cake stuck in her throat.
I'm so surprised no one has figured out who Zhongli is after all this time.
If there are indeed bandits in the
I get that, like,
area,
he
then we
faked
should
his
inform
death
the
in
military
quotation
at
marks,
once.
but still. The fact that no one even suspects that he's like an adeptus or something even, given how much he just knows about random things.
Well, if that's the case, such matters are best
Also,
left
at some
to
point,
those
somebody
with the
not
necessary
aging.
expertise.
Little
Wouldn't
bit
you agree?
suspicious.
I suppose you're right. If ordinary people like us got involved, we would only cause more trouble.
To be fair, Zhongli is
Since we
also very
find
clearly
ourselves
wearing a fake
otherwise
vision.
unoccupied in this beautiful area, why don't we find a quiet place to relax while we wait for good news?
That would be lovely.
I really do wonder, though, if you had a vision, like if they ever do like a story, I know we're gonna get an anime. Do you actually have to train with your vision? Because we saw in the, I was talking about earlier, the Genshin manga that tells kind of Collei's backstory, Amber uses her vision in a bit of a different way than you'd ever see in game. Where are we going? Oh, okay.
So, Uncle Ip does have a reason
Uncle
to be
Ip.
worried. After all, Gaming, the guard we mentioned, is...
Yeah, if I don't hear a name pronounced out loud, I'm probably not going to figure it out.
Name sounds somewhat familiar. Ah, yes. That
The
is the
Wusho
name of
dancer.
the Wusho dancer who has been performing around Liyue Harbor recently, is it not?
Oh, have you seen him perform?
Indeed. I cannot help but
I really
admire
do
his
wonder,
skill.
what is the
It
difference
truly
between his
encapsulates the
performances or
spirit of the
like
Suani.
Yunjin's or
Wusho dancing
Xinyan's,
has become more well known in Liyue Harbor recently.
what the logic is
However,
behind some being so
although
much more
performers are
popular.
seeing budding
I guess you could argue
success,
with music in
they have no
general,
doubt
different
had to
genres
face
tend to
many
do better,
hurdles along
but
the way. What
still.
is not so easily understood by spectators such as ourselves. If you ask me, what truly deserves admiration is perseverance in the face of adversity. That is a rare attribute indeed.
In the face of adversity is the hardest time to be,
Praise Game
you know,
for his kind,
be such.
selfless, and courageous disposition. To have a child so accomplished and upright, you must be a very proud parent indeed, Uncle Ip.
Uncle Lip. Is
Seems
there
like
some
Zhang Li has
significance
decided
to?
skip the formalities.
Well, he's a hard worker. Yes.
I do totally get being concerned about
Sure,
that.
tell him
Like,
you think that when he gets back.
Your son is young yet. It's normal for someone his age to be a bit hot-headed.
yeah.
It's understandable to find
I do
talking
feel
about
like a
such
lot of
things in
people,
person
myself
difficult.
included, just kind of mellow out over
If there's a
time.
particular sentiment you wish to convey,
Especially
perhaps
people
we
with like
could pass it
tempers
along
early
for
on.
you.
No.
Although that's
It wouldn't be
obviously
right to
case
ask
by
that of
case.
you. This thing between us has festered for many years now.
Years now.
In truth, there are some
How old
things
is?
that
I know they're not
simply
usually
aren't
super
easy
specific
for
on
us to
ages,
talk
but like
through.
how old is Ga Ming if
I've
it's
been
been
in
for
the tea
several
business
years?
for most of my life.
Hmm.
And I always hoped my
Like, did he become a
child would do
mercenary
the
like really
same.
young? Not a mercenary, but like a
Otherwise,
guard.
how would he support himself? Over the past few years, I heard how well he was doing for himself as a guard. How his work was taking him to farther and farther off places.
But genuinely though, I know it's not what a lot of people like to
I
hear, but when
also
you
heard
have
that
like
he
a
never
hobby in the
gave up on
arts,
Wusho
even like
dancing.
cosplay, right? But like music, all that stuff,
Made me happy.
sometimes the solution is to find a stable
I
career
was
that
also
lets you
worried.
make enough
When
income
you're
and be
young,
stable and
you can
extra free
handle all
time to do that.
physically taxing work and
You know,
manual
it's all
labor.
about making things work and
What
figuring
young
out what's
person isn't
best for you.
capable of making a living
Because I'll
that
probably
way?
always be involved in music,
My
but
concern is what happens
making a
when
career off it is very
every time I get
unstable and
to
hard to
thinking
do.
like that, I cannot help but be reinforced in the belief that I was right. That I
Yeah.
was right not to give in. I often regret introducing him to Wusho dancing as a kid. If I had
But that's
known
probably why he
how
has so much
things would
passion
turn
about
out,
it, you know?
I would have never taken him to see those performances in the first place.
It is only natural for a parent to strive to send their child down the right path. No one would begrudge you that sentiment, Uncle Ip. You need not worry.
You seem quite young, Mr. Zhongli. Yet you speak with such
Oh, you
wisdom.
have no idea.
Perhaps I have misjudged your age.
Your words are
I'm
too
so
kind.
curious too, just because we
Truth be
know,
told, one of my
like we were told
old
from early on,
friends has several
Zhongli and
grown
Venti were
daughters.
the only original
Rather than
Archons from the
fretting about
Archon
their
War
future,
remaining.
however,
But then we
she
know A
prefers
and
to let them
Makoto was
find their
a
own way.
kind of a technicality. She was
She's
there the
more
entire time.
easygoing than I could ever
Ruka
be.
Devada versus the branch
I
of
fear
Nahida.
I lack such an open mind.
Or Focalors. Even Focalors I still thought was,
I
from
meant
my
to
understanding
say
of the story,
earlier, there is no need to be
was like a
so
month or two
polite.
ago now, wasn't
Feel
the
free to
original
call
Hydra
me by my
Archon.
name, Iptak.
Sure.
So I wonder what's gonna happen with the Saritsa and the God of War.
So,
Because I always
do
assumed the
you
reason the
also
Saritsa
think
had kind
I
of
fret
locked
too
herself
much,
away and was
Mr.
doing
Zhongli?
everything the Fatui were doing was probably because
That's
she also
not
experienced
exactly what I
great
was
loss
hoping
at
to
Conria.
convey. Only a fool would ask a
I could be
parent
wrong
not
on
to
that, but
worry
I always
about
felt
their
that was kind
child.
of
But
likely because they
think of it
mentioned
this
that, kind of like how A hadn't
raising a
had
child
locked
is
down
not a
Inazuma for a
lifeline
while,
affair.
right?
Hold the
Because of her
string
own
too
grief and
tight,
everything.
and it can no longer soar.
Although it was for a much
As
shorter
my
time.
friend
I
once
since they
said,
mentioned that they
if your
haven't
children
had
are
contact
aiming
with
for
her
the
since like
stars, clipping
a
their
while
wings
ago.
will only cause them to come crashing down. You need to let
Yeah.
out the line.
This is kind
for
of
a
the
kite to
normal,
soar.
you gotta let your kids
It
spread their
seems I
wings and
was
fly
too
at some
stuck
point.
in my ways.
You need not reproach your heart for caring. You simply need to loosen your hold a little. Indeed, with such a big heart.
And genuinely,
Why
it is
not
hard to change the
allocate
way you are.
time you
People can
usually
change
spend
very much
worrying
so
about
once they put their
Gami
mind to it,
to the
but
pursuit of other things.
it's not something
Like
that,
going
you
for
know,
a
happens
stroll,
in a day. It's not
drinking
something that
tea,
just
or
happens
taking
upon
in
you a
the
lot of the
scenery.
time.
You never know what surprises
You know?
could be in store. Things can change in the blink of an eye.
The blink of an eye, you say?
Yeah.
Do things change so quickly?
We say time flies
Children
by,
grow
but
up in quite the same way,
it really
do they
does.
not? Day after day, year after year, sometimes in the blink of an eye, but always when you least
Ooh,
expect it.
sorry, I had to sneeze.
As a
I always try to
father,
mute
I'm
my
sure
mic
you
before I
know
do
that
so I don't
best.
blow people's eardrums out.
Yes, you can say that again. 1 second, Gaming was a kid. The next thing I knew, he was ready to fly the nest.
Zhongli certainly has a way with words.
Yeah. Well, he's had a long time to... Did he lose them? Hey, they were running so fast, dust clouds were picking up.
Oh,
They were
Gamin
out
was
of
back.
there.
Hey, Gamin, we're over here!
Dad, Traveler, Paimon. Good, you're all here.
Hmm.
Oh, and Mr. Zhongli from the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor? You're here too?
A fated meeting indeed. We were just enjoying some pleasant conversation.
Is everything resolved?
Well, you could say that.
What does that mean?
Traveler,
It's time to be
Paimon,
so
come with me.
sassy.
I need to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
Did he figure out that we were involved in this plan?
I'll come right out and say it. Those two bandits, you sent them, didn't you?
Technically it was probably more Cloud Retainer than anyone else, but, you know,
That's how
who are we to tell the Adeptus what to do?
Can't look me in the eye, huh? Guess I'm right then.
Okay, but how did you know?
At first, their mannerisms seemed a bit stilted. But once I got close, it was obvious that they possessed great skills. I was right on their tail, and it should have taken only a few steps to catch up to them, yet somehow, I was never able to close that distance. People with that level of skill would have gone about things differently from the start.
They're really
Like
fast
sneaking up on us
runners.
while we were distracted. Unless, of course,
Yeah.
their real motive was to lure me away from the group all along.
Wow.
To be fair,
you're
even if
pretty
sometimes
quick
it
on the
takes an
uptake.
like an outside influence
Just
to
got a
help
lot of
out with stuff like
experience.
this,
I've
it
dealt with
doesn't
many a
mean people
ruthless bandit in my
appreciate,
time, but I've never seen ones like them.
you know?
In the end, I told them they would make good guards if they ever wanted to get back on the straight and narrow, and that they could hang out with me and Liyue Harbor anytime.
Okay.
You ever consider you might be a little too good at making friends?
I'm guessing you
I
guys
wish,
were trying
right?
to help resolve things between my dad and me.
Don't admit it. Just lie. No, I believe in always doing the honest thing. But sometimes a little white lie, you know, not the worst thing.
I appreciate it, I really do,
Mhm.
but this conflict between us has been going on for a long time. Even if those two were real
Yeah.
bandits, and I was able to subdue them and show them what I was capable of, it wouldn't change anything.
And it's
I've
hard.
seen
It
the
is
way he talks
genuinely
to
hard
me.
when stuff like this happens in real life.
Not like that at all.
I have a couple friends in
Your dad
similar
really
situations,
cares about
and
you. You should
sometimes it
see
just
the way
takes
he
time.
talks about you when you're not
And it
around.
not only takes time, but
He
it
was
takes, you
talking
know,
things through
something
with
maybe
you, and you
happening.
agreed to let it go.
Because you know, both sides have to want to make a change.
You don't believe us?
He won't let it go.
Hmm.
He can say as much as he wants to other people, but he won't talk to me. I'm certain of it.
Mhm.
You told us you wanted to prove yourself to your dad. Why don't you tell him about
I
all
like
the
this though. I
hard
feel
work
like
you've
most
done these
Lantern
past
Rites,
few
they've chosen
years?
just a small handful of characters,
Will
whether
that
new or
even do
old,
anything?
and just given us a lot of,
I'm not
you know,
sure
insight into their
talking is enough.
backstory and development.
You won't know unless you try. Just like how you won't know if something is delicious unless you taste it.
I disagree with that. Sometimes you can tell
Trying to
on...
put these people skills to good use. You can make friends with
Sometimes you can just
anyone,
look
so
at
why not
something,
your dad?
like when I cook, and you know it's not gonna taste good.
I'll do my best.
Cooking is one of those things, though. I can follow a recipe, but
You
I'm not
are
gonna taste it and
very
be like, "Ah, this is
knowledgeable,
what it
Mr.
needs."
Zhongli.
it needs some,
I'm impressed.
I don't know, paprika.
Despite my being in the tea industry
Although I know
for
that's one of the
several
things like art and
decades,
music
it
that just takes
seems,
practice.
I still have much to learn about the art of tea.
That's why I say there's just
tasting.
not enough time.
You flatter
So many
me.
things to learn,
It
so
was
many
nothing but
places
a
to
few
see.
humble musings.
How much tea have you drank since we've been gone?
I mean, yeah, but, you know.
Ipdak and I have found many a common interest. Our friendship, much like a cup of tea, seems to grow stronger.
Zhongli and his
the longer it has
metaphors.
Well said, Mr. Zhongli.
I really have always wondered,
Mr.
though,
Zhongli
you know,
is very knowledgeable.
how, like, this translates
You
to
should
other
take the
languages. I've been
opportunity
having
to
such a good
learn
time
from
learning
people like
Japanese,
him
and I've
when
actually
you're in
been...
the city.
It's been about 4 or 5 months now since I started. Still far from being, like, conversational, but I've thought about learning,
Zhongli?
the other 2 languages are Korean and Spanish.
I have very much enjoyed our conversation, Ipdak, but I, unfortunately, have some unfinished funeral parlor business to attend to.
I feel like, what, did somebody die?
Oh, I hope
Like-
I didn't keep you.
I feel like that's one of those
My
excuses
apologies
you
for
can
taking
use,
up
though,
so
and what
much
are
of
they
your
gonna
time,
say?
Mr. Zhongli.
I have some funeral
No need to
parlor
stay on
business
my
to
account.
attend to.
When you're less busy, let's find a time to meet. I'll treat you to dim sum.
It would be an honor.
We'll see you off, Zhongli.
Hmm.
You two have a nice chat, alright?
Yep, see ya. Hope things work out. Where'd he go? I can never get over the meme. Just my friend going. He really wanted Zhongli when he started playing the game. He plays the Liyue character quest and goes, I don't want Zhongli anymore. Everybody in Liyue Harbor almost died.
Good roll.
Because he didn't want to come down to work once a year for the Rite of Ascension.
Knock out the rest of the work.
Which
once
is
you
not,
get to it.
you know, but just gets me every time. But I actually really like all the Archons. They're such, like, distinct characters. There are very few characters, though, in these games that I just don't like. But he's a good one. Like, if I had to pull one out that I really don't like, and it's not even, like, a strong hatred, I don't like Tartaglia. Mostly because he's the only character in Genshin, because I almost always go to Soft Pity, that ruined the 50-50 for me. Or ruined Pity, I should say, for me. Because I was trying to get Rosaria cons, because I actually used to play Rosaria Kokomi combo a lot. But even then, you know, he has, like, his good parts. His love for his family, I can understand that. I come from a big family as well. And all that stuff. He's also just gotten dunked on in, like, every recent quest, so it's a little hard to... I just kind of feel bad for him at this point. I'm super excited for Skirk, though. I think I was talking with NT2 last stream
Good thing you were able
about
to
there's a
hit
theory
that while
about,
we
you
were
know,
putting down.
whether we might
I
get
have
something
been
like,
around the both of you for
you
some
know, Star
time.
Rail's Quantum and
You could
Imaginary,
say I have a certain level
come
of
like
expertise in
Dainsleaf,
that
or
regard.
later on in the story.
As for my role in the
I've heard a
conversation,
theory that
think nothing of it.
Skirk might be
I hardly
a
think
Quantum
anything
character
negative
if
of it.
that's something that happens.
You never changed.
But you never know. They might just stick with the 7-element format.
You have us walk all
Because it
this
took us,
way.
what, 3 regions?
Paimon thought we just had to
No,
go
technically
far
4
enough
to get
out of earshot.
Dendro.
A friend
Which is
approaches.
funny because it was always in, like, the loading screen. Oh, hi, Xiao.
Xiao, you're here too?
I've been here the whole time.
Oh.
A ghostly kite. Could that elusive Director Hu be coming to Wangshu Inn once again? What is she doing here? I suppose it matters not. Given her relationship with Rex, well, Zhongli.
Uta's one of those characters that is a bit strange, but I've always found it odd that she's so, like, disliked in Liyue. I get that it'd be annoying if someone kept coming by asking about
you.
your funeral,
I thought you were Director
but
Hu.
cheerful people are, you know,
Your
happiness is
arrival
contagious.
most fortuitous. Do you want to try out this new gadget?
You want to fly a kite?
The addition of the power source makes the takeoff more stable. It's just that
He seems quite immersed in the study of this device.
I fear it's almost too stable. It completely negates
Oh,
the
okay.
pleasure of seeing one's kite sway with the wind. It's a bit of a shame.
That's something I know a lot of people have with
In truth,
hobbies.
I'm here because
You can maybe do it
Director
more
Hu
efficiently with, like,
dispatched me to
machinery, but doing
purchase
it by
some
hand
items
is...
in preparation for Lantern
There's some
Rite.
joy in that.
I see. Much like she does every year. Much like she'll do next year, I would imagine.
I've always wondered, too, what the Adeptus' thoughts are on Hu Tao.
Am I wrong? Or Or has she once again sent you out to buy, what is it,
Sesame
sesame oil
oil.
or something?
I think Cloud Retainer has a line about how, like, Hu Tao
I
just
do
says the
wonder
most
why she
peculiar
is so
things.
obsessed with using
Yet, you know,
sesame oil in
the members of the
preparation
funeral
mixed
parlor love
vegetable
her,
dishes
and
for
Zhongli
Lantern
saw fit
Rite.
to work under her as a
A
consultant.
recommendation from Xiangling, perhaps. What do you think, Xiao?
I've only met Director Hu a few times. I'm hardly the best person to ask.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't imagine Zhao does
Is that
much
not a
cooking
sign
either.
that you should visit Wangsheng Funeral Parlor more often? It wouldn't hurt to grace the parlor with your presence now and again. when
But
you
at
are
some point too, if the
otherwise
Conqueror of
unoccupied.
Demons is showing up at the funeral parlor to visit
This one
Zhongli
here
a
is a
bunch,
traditional kite, one without
not that he
any
does a
strict
great job of
mechanical
keeping up his
device.
cover.
Director Hu tasked
But at
me
some
with
point you
studying
gotta
the
wonder.
differences between the two to determine which one is of greater merit. Many hands make light work. Perhaps
She
you could
tasked
test out the
Zhongli
other kite for me?
with checking which one works better. That almost just feels like she was like a mom, trying to get him out of the house. Here, I'm gonna give you 2 kites. You tell me which one's better.
If speed is what you're after, the mechanical kite is the better choice.
Wonderful. I shall pass that information
The
along to
mechanical
Director
kite
Hu.
is just a
I'll
drone.
leave these
I
2
swear.
kites with you.
It's a
Perhaps
drone
you
on
can
a
find few
swing.
friends with which to partake in the activity. You might find it to be an enjoyable use of your time.
Oh, wait. Who enjoys
It's fun.
kite flying?
It just takes a nice
Well,
windy day,
I
and if
would
it's too windy,
imagine
the kite
someone
just
of your
dies.
talent
And if it's not
wisdom
windy
is more
enough,
than
nothing
capable of
happens.
finding out.
So you were testing
flying
out the
kites are
kites for
fun.
Hu Tao and even roped Xiao into doing it for you? Paimon didn't ask earlier because the situation was awkward.
I would hardly say I roped Xiao into anything. I simply sought the help of a friend.
I sought the help of a friend.
Besides,
And if
we
I
did
ask
the
any of the
testing together.
Adeptus for anything, they essentially can't say no.
Competitors
But,
are growing.
you know. The pool of competitors is growing. We have a kite that looks like wide Paimon. How could we lose?
Do you like kite flying, Xiao?
I suppose I neither like nor dislike it.
We call that being
watching
neutral.
a kite gradually ascend into the sky does bring me a certain peace of mind. Perhaps they're a bit like
It's
shell
calming.
lanterns in that way.
Like in this day and age, especially with everything going on
flying
with
is
all
also
the
a pleasant
technology, the
form of
media, sometimes
relaxation.
just stepping away and like flying a kite or
What
reading a
about
book.
making kites, Xiao?
Very
Cloud
nice.
Retainer taught us how. We can teach you if you want.
Part of the reason why I've been learning, you know, another language, I've been practicing guitar
Pinocchio's was
again.
the only Yaksha among us
A little
who
bit
had
of flute
interest
as
in
well.
matters
I'd
of
like to get all
ornamentation
the
and
instruments in a
design.
collection eventually that I
When
used to
Lantern
play.
Rite is over, come find me near Pervasi's temple.
It's
if you
something to
have
get
the
away
time.
from it all. Pervasive system. Oh, right, I remember that.
It's getting late.
I think
should go
Lantern Rite
inform
as well.
Director
Usually
Hu
at the
of our
end, you can go
findings.
talk to the characters. I know that's one thing people have said is like a very big praiseworthy thing
The
for
last time
Star
I
Rail,
spoke to her,
but I also think that's
she
another
mentioned
thing
that
that's
she
just
would be
harder to
visiting
do in
Xiaoning
Genshin.
Village in a few days. If you have the time, perhaps you could
Especially
also
since like
meet her
quests
there.
conflict so much.
If you happen to run
If I had
into
$1
her,
for every
you can
time I
pass
just
along
opened my
your
character
regards in
quests
person.
and then couldn't do
Keep it in
something,
mind. Take care, Xiangli.
I'd have C6 of every character.
See you next time.
That's why I like actually that with the character quest you can now spend the key and then leave the quest dormant.
Coming.
Oh,
You can go first.
I don't have anything to say.
Then I'll go. I still don't want to leave Liyue Harbor.
Oh. I can't say I support that decision, but... Hey, let me finish before you get all worked up.
Sit, Shinhe, sit. You must be tired from your journey.
oh my
Shall I
goodness,
pour
they're
you a
so
cup of
bad at
tea?
acting.
Or would you prefer something else to drink?
No need. I'm not tired.
This is gonna be one of
You're
those
on,
where they're just
Master.
like awkwardly specific
Perfect.
conversations.
The time is nigh for us to make an appearance.
Just very pointed.
Do you remember the
Surely.
plan one recounted to you?
Yes, Master. We aim to give them
I
a
knew it.
demonstration of filial love.
I feel like maybe you should have. Well, Ganyu's more well
So
known, I
I'll have
guess.
whatever you are having.
All right.
What are Auntie Shenyun and Shanhua?
Yeah, it's not like he doesn't know who they are, too.
People are involved in this scheme. I suppose all I can do is just
Oh, no.
take a seat and see what happens.
Perfect. I just so happen to have bought some sunglow.
The voice actors do such a good job.
It's quite the delectable variety.
Like, you can tell they're, like, enunciating stuff and, like,
Been forced to drink it every day in the
when you
hopes
talk
of
just a little bit too loud, like,
stash.
oh, what is it, like, people do when, like, Christmas is coming up?
Already.
Man, it would be really nice if I could get, like, this for Christmas.
Keep up the conversation.
Just around the corner from someone.
Has work been busy during the
I think it was my niece or nephew that did that last year, and it was so funny.
Drunk guests can sometimes cause
Oh,
trouble,
no.
but I deal with them as you taught me, by pinning their heads against the table.
Yeah, what do you even say to that?
Shenyun and Shanhua serious right now?
Oh, no. I think it's kind of funny, too, that there were people that stopped by Wanmin to kind of hit on her.
One was busy orchestrating this act. One seems to have forgotten
And she just
about
doesn't really
Shanhua's
get it.
various
I feel that, though.
eccentricities.
I'm super dense when it comes to that. If people don't tell me, I'm not gonna figure it out.
What I meant to ask
My
was,
ex-girlfriend actually
have you made any new friends? We
tells
live
me,
so
like, I
far
dropped so
from
many
each
hints
other.
before you
It
asked
would
me
be a
out. And I was
great
like,
comfort
really?
to me to know you were surrounded
I had
by
no
good
idea.
companions.
Oh, no.
You already know of my past circumstances. Recently, I've been conversing with Guoba in the kitchen at night. Guoba can't talk,
The former
but his
stove god.
companionship is a comfort.
The poor child. Her one friend can't even talk. I guess.
Oh, no.
Maybe Gaming is not.
I feel
being
like
so
this was
pathetic.
that look. I feel like this is not the
Too
goal.
hard on him.
They're trying to express familial love, and he's just like, man,
Let's move on.
at least
shall we?
Gaming has
Do you
friends.
have any plans for today, Shenhe?
Oh,
How
no.
about we do something fun?
That sounds about right. Take her to do something fun, and perhaps she'll loosen up a bit.
Like we used to do when we would carry stones up and down the mountain from dawn until dusk.
Why did you
eating herbs
choose
to eat
Shenhe
dinner
for
along the
this?
way. If that is what
Oh,
you ask
no.
of me, then that is what I shall do.
Dad, here, have some tea. Or no, wait, let's not have any just yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I simply can't listen to that any longer.
Oh, no.
Coming. I'd like to finish what I was trying to say before.
They weren't
I
exactly
support
subtle
your
about
decision
it.
to stay in Liyue Harbor, because living there is too hard on you. If you come home,
Yeah.
there will be people to help you. I'm not saying we have to live under the same roof. I know our personalities are too similar to avoid butting heads.
At least saying, you know,
You'll
you always
your
have a place to
entire
come back
family
to.
around you. Your aunts, uncles, they'll all do whatever they can to help. You could get a less taxing job, and we could grab dim sum.
It's still
together
his
from
life
time
to live,
time.
right? But
Huh.
just saying you have a
didn't
place
know
to
dim
come
sum
back.
was such an important affair, Master.
They are right next to each other.
Just think about it, okay? You don't have to decide now.
Oh, no.
Dad really has
Yeah.
changed a lot.
And there's nothing wrong with leading like an exciting bodyguard life for a while and then maybe retiring as a tea vendor.
But Thank you, Dad.
It's been long enough, don't you think? Oh, Paimon sure hopes they've made up by now. Oh, they're drinking tea in silence. That's not a good sign. Did Xianyun's
I also just find it hilarious that there's 2 benches here. I guess there's maybe
You two?
still.
I'm sorry we were gone for so long. We got to chatting with some friends and didn't realize how much time had passed.
Perfect timing, actually. We seem to be just about done here.
Yep,
Okay.
Let's go. I'll get the bags.
Gaming has grown a lot taller, hasn't he?
Aw. That's kind of sad. But seriously though, you never realize how fast the time flies. You know, especially when you're talking to like old friends, for me is one thing. Like that you haven't talked to in a long time, and you're like, wow, has it been that long? Oh, it's Charlotte. She was here, wasn't she? At the very beginning.
You must be Mr. Ip! Thank you for coming all this way. My name is Charlotte, and I'm a reporter from Fontaine. You can find me writing for the Steambird. I invited you here not just to purchase your fine tea, but also with the hope that you might be willing to sit down for a short interview. What do you say?
An interview? To advertise.
Hey, that's good business.
I suppose you could think of it that way. We Fontainians are big tea drinkers too.
The Fontaine Market.
Yeah.
Then I'll need some
And you could,
time
you know,
to
then you could bring Gaming into the family business. He's like, help, you know, bring the caravan over to Fontaine.
Of course, of course.
I don't think this was part of the plan, granted, but that'd be cool. Oh, no, maybe it was part of the plan. Okay.
Is this person also involved in your plan?
he's so
Yeah, I
unimpressed.
thought I had lots of connections.
Oh,
I
no.
suppose I've been humbled. You sure know all kinds of cool and important people.
Over here. Yoo-hoo! Over here!
Huh? What? Auntie Shenyun?
Does he actually know that she's an
About the next phase
Adeptus?
of the plan.
I'm still unclear on that.
Dad is still distracted.
I feel like you look at some point and be like, okay, she knows Shenhe. I guess Shenhe's a bit mysterious too, but she knows Ganyu. I guess to be fair, a lot of people in Liyue Harbor know Ganyu. That's a nice view. It's such a cool world base that they've made. Like, there's so few games like this out there. And it's funny because I've never been like the biggest open world player. But it's fun. It's been cool to see it grow since it was just, you know, Mondstadt and Liyue.
Going well.
Don't worry, Shenyun. Everything is going according to plan.
I knew it. I knew that was all an act earlier.
She's
Auntie
really
Shenyun was
something.
something. She was so determined to help me. She didn't even care about
Jianyan
herself
isn't even
when
that
she
great of an
volunteered
actor, I
for
feel like,
people.
Cloud Retainer. But when you set her next to
She did
Shenhe,
for others. I still have a lot
she
to
looks
learn.
like a Broadway star.
Next step.
Oh no!
What?
What's wrong, Gaming?
Don't tell me you're the ones footing the bill for all that tea. I can't let you do that.
Dude, I have like
Fret
18 million
not.
Mora
Reimbursements will be made.
in my backpack.
Exactly.
We'll be
Think of it
fine.
As an investment, as Ningguang would say. We
How much
pulled
does it
together
cost?
the Mora so that Charlotte could place the order. She's gonna bring it back to the Steambird as a gift, as well as a sample of the
Oh.
regional specialty.
Okay.
Fontanians will probably fall in love with your dad's tea as soon as they lay their eyes on Charlotte's article. And once all the money from the new order
And people really do
comes
love
in,
like
giving
regional
our Mora
specialty
back
stuff
will
like
be a
that.
piece of cake.
You know,
Oh, okay.
that's something I've learned. Like my aunts do a lot of
Business-related
arts and
matters
crafts and they'll
always
go to like
over my
fairs.
head,
People
but
love that
I
stuff.
refuse to let you all lose more on my behalf. I'll pay you back right now.
We can talk about such matters at a
How much
later
tea did we
date.
buy?
There are more important matters for you to consider at the moment. Are there not?
Yes.
Also, I
I've
have
been
nothing about
thinking
tea
about
leaves.
the
Do
whole
they
thing
go
here.
bad over time? I know you just put them in hot water and they
I have
steep,
an
right?
idea.
But
But I'd hate to cause even more trouble.
I've never
for all of
made
you.
tea off like the little tea bags that you stick in.
That is for us to decide.
Yeah, we're all friends here. Plus, we wouldn't be here if we didn't want to help, right? Just tell us about this idea of yours.
Okay. Whew. So, it's like this.
Are they ever going to tell us the plan before it happens? I feel like the answer's probably no, but still.
Let's split up and make it happen.
Hmm.
We need to do those things we talked about, but we also still have the kite flying competition.
Why are you so concerned about the kite flying competition? Is there like a reward?
Why don't we also go buy one of those mechanical thingamabobs or whatever they're called? We can attach it to our kite.
Okay, to the kite stall. I just always have to wonder too, because I know there's only so many characters, they have to pay the VAs and all that stuff to get them into these big events. But like, where is Yelan during this? Where is Beidou? You know, Ningguang and Kuching are probably just busy preparing stuff, but is Yunjin doing a performance? Is Jinyan? Just interesting stuff. And like, is the Lantern Rite famous enough that we would get visitors from other nations? Because I feel like that doesn't happen too often, not counting Charlotte. I swear Charlotte's just gonna appear everywhere from here on out.
Hello again.
Welcome back. I see you returned from your trip. I really do have to thank you for all your help from before.
I do have to wonder though,
Thanks
how
to
would the
you,
mechanical device
my
not weigh
daughter
down
was
the
able
kite?
to build a kite with her grandmother that very same day. She even wrote a long letter telling me how much she loved it.
Oh, you should really be thanking Gaming, not us.
I'll be sure to. And are you here to buy a kite? Please, take your pick.
Oh, we already have a kite. We wanted to buy one of those, device thingies from Fontaine. Do you sell them separately?
Ah, yes. Here you go. Please, take it, free of charge. The directions are in the box. It's not hard to install at all.
It doesn't feel right for us to just take it.
Well,
Paimon,
nor would it
when
feel
it's
right
free-
for me to take your Mora. Good luck in the kite
You know,
flying
like-
competition. I'll be rooting for you.
Alright then, thank you.
What is the competition though? Is it like design-wise, or is it literally like we're gonna race kites? How do you even go about racing kites?
It's done. Let's get down to business. Looks like we finished everything we needed to do. Let's find a good place and put this thing into the sky.
Hey. I feel like in the middle of the city might not be the best place though. Oh, cutscene.
Chi-Chi, we're almost there.
Oh, that's wholesome.
Okay.
These three. Oh, it's Brittany.
Come here, allow me.
The Lantern Rite is as festive as ever.
I like that Shenhe and Ganyu became good friends as well.
Huh? Oh, what's going on?
Did something happen? What should we do? Oh,
Ha-
should we get the Millilith?
What? Oh, okay. Oh, it's like a probably performance.
What's that?
Oh, that's cool. Is he standing on the water? I've seen this like art style of dance before, in like real life. How would it not be popular in the Genshin world? That's so cool. Wow. Huh. Oh, that was actually really cool. How strong are those lanterns that he could jump off them, though? I guess he was literally standing on water a second ago. Oh, hi, Kaching.
Have I taken that many pictures already? I need to load more film.
Oh, the kites. John Lee's The Jade Chamber. That's so cool. A whopper flower?
Wait, the wind.
It's a. Oh, I was about to say venti, but that works too.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm. Hi, Hu Tao.
Happy Lantern Rite. Happy Lantern Rite.
Hmm. Aw. I wonder how, like, prevalent Shuyu is going to be in the future. 'Cause I know when the voice lines were leaked ahead of time, a lot of people were curious as to who she was. That was nice, though. I liked that. We are only on the third part, though. What's the fourth part?
He's over there, talking to his dad.
Hmm. Yeah, let's go interrupt him. That seems like a good plan. Oh, that was cool. I'd love to see performances like that in real life.
I think I'll head off now.
That was something my high school English teacher was super good about, was every year she'd do like
Do you
3...
want us to walk you back?
She'd get really good like prices, and we'd go to the like
No need, no need.
one of the big
Master is
theaters
waiting
nearby.
right over there.
And we saw like one year we saw like a really big, like it was a Broadway traveling performance of The Lion King. I know we saw I think it was called The Giver, based off a book. Good stuff. And they're like memories that you remember. Teachers can have such a positive influence on lives.
I suppose I'll go first this time.
Okay.
Your performance. I've seen many wuxia dances in my time, but I've gotta admit, what you pulled off there was breathtaking.
Yeah.
Wow. I never thought I'd live to hear you say that.
You're serious about doing this professionally?
Absolutely.
And genuinely,
I know it'll
having
be
such a
difficult,
successful performance, you know,
Then
that's
it
the same
doesn't
thing in
matter.
music. Sometimes that's all it takes. Is
What I
one
mean to
big
say is,
thing,
of
and then
course it'll be difficult.
you've got your name out there, and
But if that's
you
your
know,
decision,
people book you for
if
concerts.
that's your dream, then it doesn't matter how difficult it is. As long as you put in the work, then any obstacle can be overcome in time. Really, when I was young, I also... Actually, how about we save that story of my past for another time? All
Yeah,
I
kind of
really wanna
bittersweet,
say
but
is I've changed
it's
my
not to say
mind.
that you shouldn't chase your dreams,
much
because you
like this
definitely
guy,
should.
You
If
also
there's something you
deserve to
truly
soar
love
to
doing,
new heights.
regardless of whether it becomes your profession or remains a hobby, you should
Son,
try it. It's why I always recommend people to stream or learn an instrument if they'd like to, because
Haven't heard that in a
it's,
while.
you know, it's never too late.
I bet you're
Same thing
wondering
with like
what's
school and
coming
stuff
into
like
me
that.
saying all this.
It's never too late to try something new.
A little bit, yeah.
Anyway, I know I've never found the chance to say this before, but to me, Gaming, you've always been a great kid.
And it's those things that too, like,
All right, that's
some of us feel like
everything
maybe
I've
it
got.
takes for granted, but
Did you have something you
telling a
wanted to
friend
say,
or a loved one that you love them, you care for them, you're proud of them, you know, just saying it out loud can mean a lot.
Seeing the two of them talk things through like this really gives Paimon a sense of accomplishment.
Both the options, yeah. Yeah.
Now go. Over there. Your friends are still waiting for you.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that both of them got some,
But you came
like,
all this way.
lore-wise, they could see some
I'll be
success.
staying in
The
Lira
tea leaves
Harbor
are going to
for
go
a
to
bit
Fontaine.
longer.
That could be international
When you
business
have
for
time, we can grab
Epir,
Vincent together.
and
your treat.
That was a really successful performance.
Dad, honestly.
Go.
I do wonder though, like, it's so weird with when they introduce new characters how often we see them.
Then I'm off.
It's like big fan favorites you see more often,
See you
right?
soon.
We talk about how to like Hu Tao, Zhongli, Ningguang, you know, some of those characters are very common in Liyue. But I've seen someone talk about how Mika, and I think that's maybe why they put him in a recent event, or semi-recent, hasn't shown up as much. But certain characters, I think it makes more sense. You're gonna see Rosaria at like a festival, you know?
The smile you've got there, Gummy.
Really?
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
I'd like to find and thank Auntie Xinyun.
Festivals are fun though, too.
If everyone has
You ever go to
time,
like the food
maybe we
stalls
could
and
all get
stuff?
together
Oh,
and
even just like
fly a
carnivals or the fair. I have good memories of like going to the fair with some friends. We get to just hang out, like get like some good like vendor food. Wait until 2 days later. Okay. I think every quest has had like a 2 days later, and I think the reason they do that is so that you don't accidentally start the quest when you don't want to. Which I can appreciate, because, you know, it's another thing that happens a lot. There we go. This should be the part that released today. It's Sunday, right? Yeah, I'm not crazy. I think this was the last part that released today. I do wonder how long it could possibly be. Did I not wait till the right time? 12 to 16. Oh, no, I did not. Oops. Because usually I think the big cutscene at the end is where, like, they do all of that kind of tidying up. Like, we had a cutscene like that with other characters in previous years. Going to the village. Yeah, we haven't seen much Hu Tao for how much she's been mentioned. Granted, we haven't seen like any Beidou or Jinyan or Yunjin, so we'll see. And to be fair, a lot of those characters could be traveling, you know? Like, I'd imagine Nilo isn't always in Sumeru with the opera troupe and such. Such a pretty area. That's one thing I've always loved about growing up near the mountains. Is going on a hike or something can be so beautiful. Oh. Okay.
Did you hear that? Sunshine! Blue skies! Good vibes! Right? So Paimon wasn't just hearing things. That voice sounds really familiar. Well, we've got the time. Why don't we go
Actually,
check
though,
it
but
out?
who is this? Almonds, cocoa paste. Okay, but actually, though, who is this? Oh! Oh, what are they doing here? Huh.
Well, if it isn't my dear partners. See, I told you that something good was going to happen during our travels today. I have to say, sometimes
I'm so excited for Cloran. I've heard she and Arlecchino are gonna work well
It's
together in
just your
Kit.
lucky day.
It's just your lucky day.
Catch the festivities? Oh, and that reminds me. Happy Lantern Rite.
Happy Lantern Rite.
Happy Lantern Rite to you too.
I'd assume both of them will probably get character quests. I don't know if Fiori will get one next patch.
And that voice we heard.
But as far as I know, she's 4.5. And then, I mean, there's only 3 more patches in Fontaine for the other 2.
You've got good ears. That or your voice is just really loud.
I guess, like, I didn't recognize her voice because I just wasn't thinking about Navia and Cloran showing up in Liyue.
Indeed. I suppose it's an asset.
I'm glad that these two get along now, too. I mean, what happened with Navia's father, you know? But, still, you say you two. It was distinctly one of the two of them. I was wondering though if it was like a vendor, because Buell fruit is from,
No,
you know,
it's
not
a
here.
code. The words are meaningless.
Perhaps, but the act of shouting was very meaningful indeed. That's just what mountain climbers do, right? After all the hard work it takes to make it to the top, as you stand
Maybe.
on the summit looking out at the vast scenery, it's not easy to resist the urge to release those emotions.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. You get me, partner.
I don't know if I've ever run into someone
I
just
was
shouting
afraid
off
that
the
it
top
would
of like a
cause a disturbance,
14er,
so
but
I asked the locals around
I
here,
understand
and
the
They
sentiment.
said it was fine. Apparently, most hikers like to shout when they get to the top, so the locals are used to it by now. So, you see, it's not just me. I guess everyone shouts from the top of a mountain at some point in their life.
That's one of those like superstitions
speak
people
for
have that I
yourself.
can't, yeah, I can't
When
really
you're stressed, don't you
bring
ever
myself
just
to
get
tell
the
them
urge
that's...
to do something for no reason?
I've been on a lot of hikes, not recently, I'm out of
Not
shape,
really.
but when I was
If
younger,
I ever get stressed,
in the mountains and
I just
stuff,
go
and I
hunting.
can't say I've seen that. She goes hunting, huh?
to relieve stress.
She even, like I've mentioned though, she has like the Bloodborne aesthetic of a hunter, just not as
What I
like
choose to hunt depends on my
dark
mood.
colors.
Huh?
Oh,
Hmm.
I love Bloodborne though. I don't know if they're ever gonna
Why
make a
don't you
second
two
one,
give it a
but
try? Shout
such a fun
anything you
game.
want. It's a real
Played through it again
stress
actually
reliever.
recently.
Hmm.
It was absolutely a meme run though.
Back and food
I
in
think
her
I was
mind,
using the
then it doesn't
Lagarius
feel like
wheel.
stress that needs relieving.
Literally just looks like a wagon wheel that opens up and you just slam it into things. So funny.
Oh, I bet you guys are just too embarrassed to let loose. No need to be shy. Even Farina was shouting from the top
Wait,
of
really?
this mountain earlier.
Karina's here. I guess she's no longer right, like, even considered, like, people don't assume she's the Hydra Archon anymore, so that must free her up a little bit. I think that's maybe part of the reason why, just besides personality, A and Nahida we haven't seen outside their nations. But Zhongli and Venti, who are kind of in disguise, can go other places.
Did Paimon
People
hear
might panic if their actual, like,
Farina's also here?
known
In
Archon just
China
disappeared.
Village?
Believe in your ears.
Yeah.
It is indeed as you heard.
I've wondered too if Cloran still kind of looks after
Actually,
Farina.
the reason we climbed this mountain in the first place was also because we heard the sound of shouting.
Yes, we could just
Was it
about
just
make
the
out
three of
someone
them?
yelling things like, "Help me!" and "What should I do?" So we hurried up here to check it out. And what do you know? Miss
Oh,
Farina
yep, there
was
it is.
standing right there, all red in the face. She practically sprinted back down the mountain the minute she saw us.
Oh no.
Ah, that reminds me. I believe what she actually said was,
Oh.
"So help me, I will figure out what I should do about this script."
So you could actually hear what
I
she
like
was
wholesome
saying?
characters, but I also like just
Why
the
did you
deadpan
say so
characters.
early?
Shenhe as well.
I thought someone was really in
Pretty
trouble.
funny.
I figured we would come check out the situation either way.
So I
Why
didn't
not let
correct
her
you.
keep some privacy?
Oh, seems like you caught Farina in the middle of some stress relief as well. She probably would have never thought. No, she definitely would have never thought.
So they
she
didn't
would run into anyone
travel
she
out
knew all the way
here
out here.
together. I'm assuming Navia and Cloran did. What a weird coincidence, though. Like, can you imagine traveling abroad? Like, the world's a big place and you just happen to meet someone from your hometown. Like, I'd love to travel, go to Japan, Korea, France as well. France, Italy, and stuff. All these different places. So cool. Love to go to Australia, too. If I ever have the time and money. I couldn't imagine just meeting someone from, like, my small town in one of those places. That'd be crazy.
I think so.
Oh,
We ran into Neuvillette on the way
I was
here as
talking about
well,
that
but
earlier,
he
actually.
was
We're gonna see
already on his
Neuvillette
way
meet
back, so
Zhongli.
they probably weren't
He's always
together.
talking about how he's gonna judge the Archons, but I'm still sad I couldn't get him. I had the wishes to pull on him when his run, sorry, came through. I just didn't know if I'd like his kit. I think the water Kamehameha is really funny, but it was like once I did his character quest, that's when I really liked the character.
What was he doing here? It couldn't have been for vacation.
I think it just
But
might
I
be
really
good,
do want to save
actually.
up and make sure, because I'm
But
considering, I don't
apparently
pull
he only
weapons like
stayed for
ever
half a
anymore.
day before heading back.
But if
He's a very busy
Clorand
man.
and Arlecchino have really good kits, I'd
Nevertheless,
consider
not
pulling
the
on their
type to take
weapons.
much time off. Taking even a half day for himself is already a huge step in the right direction.
Did they
Didn't
travel over
Charlotte
here in
publish
half a
an
day?
article on the Liyue tea industry recently?
Yeah, there's a
Maybe
lot
he
of
was
characters from
inspired to come
Fontaine
buy
here
some
right
tea
now.
after reading that
Surprisingly.
article. You know, just
We
like
were talking
before.
about, though, like, will
My
other characters
situation is
visit during the
completely
Lantern
different.
Rite?
I'm here because I was asked to accompany you.
Oh, okay.
The tea purchase is simply an added bonus of this location.
So
You
she...
Fontanians and your tea drinking.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not for me. I lost a bet
Oh,
with
yeah.
Wrisley, and now I have to buy him something.
Rod Risley. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if, like, Lantern Rite during Natlan, right? They'd bring characters from there to Liyue. Because it's just such an iconic event. And again, I keep mentioning Lantern Rite and Golden Apple Archipelago. I don't really know who else they could put in Golden Apple Archipelago. We've got, like, Mona. But because it's usually tied to the Mondstadters, I can't imagine us getting, 5 characters like we are here.
It was just a spur of the moment sort of bet.
In fact, it almost always includes
Wrisley
Klee,
gets
right?
really
And,
invested
like,
in that sort
Albedo.
of thing,
And
but
Jean.
he couldn't care less about what he wins in the end. You could give him mint plants that you plucked from the side of the road, and he wouldn't even mind.
Some people just like
If only
gambling
he
and
was
stuff like that for the
easygoing
thrill
when
of
came
it.
to talking business.
Which maybe isn't
In
the
any
healthiest thing to
case,
do, but...
I'm pretty sure the tea you bought is
Still.
this region's specialty. What is it called again? Nervaletti
I had a friend who
mentioned it
loved
earlier.
playing poker, and I have no idea how to play poker. He was trying to teach us, like a group of friends, and we were there kind of just to support him. We were like, yeah, it's not like we're betting anything. None of it. We were all broke, like high school kids at the time. But you just see, after like the 5th round, you just see all of us go, we're all in. Yeah, on like a terrible hand.
Yes.
Because people can
that's
sit
the
down.
one.
People who are into poker, though, it's
Yeah,
super
really
complicated.
buy 10 boxes.
They'll get super into it. How much money do you
Please.
have?
Do I look like someone who would fall for that sort of marketing trap?
Ah, that reminds me. You guys said you only came up here because you heard my voice, right?
I feel like we're getting
didn't
more
put you
voice lines
off.
for Clorand here
Must have
than we
had
got
other
like in
plans
the
for the
entirety of
day.
the Archon quest.
That's right. Who tell?
She was so cool though in that
Few days
first
ago,
cutscene.
we heard that a
when
friend
she
was
saves
going
us
to
in
be
Navia.
Xiaoying Village, so we decided to come and see if we could run into her.
It was a bit
dear.
surprising though
We've been chatting for
that like
quite
she was the
some
first
time.
character with a gun
I'm
that we
sorry
all
for
saw
keeping you.
in like the Fontaine trailer, and then we got the Gunbrella and Chevrous's rifle long before that.
That's good.
We should probably head out and look for Hu Tao.
I really like Chevrous though.
No need to
Got a
stay on
cool
our
like
account.
musketeer
We
design.
just got up here, so we're gonna stay around for a little longer.
We could stay on your account,
Go
and your
meet your
banner could
friend.
come earlier,
We
right?
can meet up in
Like,
Xiaoying
I'm
Village
so
later.
surprised. Like, Arlecchino, again, I'd heard early on, I don't know if this is true. She would be later on, just between Harbingers, I think a lot of times being a little bit later on. And I heard that maybe she has something in her kit relating to Natlan's gimmick. Again, that's super subject to change. But I was so surprised. I did not think Clorand would be so late in Fontaine. Because I'm like 99% certain she's not in 4.5. And I thought I had heard Arlecchino was even before her. I can't imagine them putting like Clorand of all characters at like 4.7 or 4.8. That seems so strange.
Sounds good. We're gonna head down the mountain then. See you later.
But I know they've been trying to space out character releases, because I think in Inazuma and Sumeru, the last 2 patches were mostly reruns, weren't they?
What do I have to do to get you to yell from the top of this
not gonna do it.
mountain? Name your price.
You really want to hear it that bad, huh?
I'm just curious is all.
Well, we've never
I have a
heard her
feeling
raise her
you'll say
voice, have we?
something Amazing.
I will pass. I prefer to let actions speak louder than words.
Don't worry, Clorand. I've saved wishes for you. I'm definitely gonna pull her. My usual MLO, though, the only exception to this, I think, was Yai and Hu Tao. I pull on just C0 for a character, and then I use them until they're rerun. And if I really like them, then I'll consider Constellations of Wishes if I have the ability to. I wonder if they ever go to triple rerun banners, because we're getting that scope.
Village is known for its tea, but you know what else they have with tea? That's right, dim sum! Didn't Gaming say something about dim sum being
I have no
eat them in the
idea.
morning? Oh,
To be fair, I
Paimon
eat cereal at like
gets them
midnight,
at this
so,
time of day.
you know, maybe I'm not the person to ask.
Well, that's fine too. Paimon doesn't care what kind of tea it is as long as it comes with some tasty snacks. Now, let's see what kind of yummy things we can find around here. Paimon's not seeing
Oh, there they
things,
are.
is she? Is that Farina
Hu
standing
Tao's meeting
between
Farina.
Zhongli and Hu Tao?
Wait, so where's Nouvellette? I was looking forward to seeing them talk to each other. Surely they don't hit us with the, Nouvellette just happened to meet someone else. I do imagine it'd be awkward, though. We had, like, the awkward moment where Zhongli and Venti had to pretend not to know each other. Nouvellette was, like, one of those characters that, as call me as it almost seemed like that, like, oh, I'm gonna get him as soon as I see it, and then he has voice lines saying,
Wonder what they're talking
wait, you mean
about.
he's just a consultant? Venti's just a
Zhongli
drunk
knows
bard?
a lot of stuff. Maybe
Like,
he's telling Farina about Qiaoying Village.
it's like when you, like, really want to be mad at someone, and then you meet them and you realize you misinterpreted something. Hmm.
Hey, this isn't the Fortress of Meropide. But Paimon could be convinced for the right price. Let's say
Do you even have
loser
money?
buys the winner 3 huge
I feel like all of our
bowls
money is probably
Since
with me.
Zhongli is there, Paimon bets things are pretty tame. It's decided then. Paimon votes for tour guide Zhongli.
I vote for Hustler Hu Tao.
Alright, no time to waste.
Oh no.
Let's go see who's right.
What's she looking at? It is a nice pond. Surprised we scared Hu Tao. She did like the little hands up thing. Feel like she's always the one surprising people.
Oh, well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Seems like our luck just keeps on growing.
That we were able to meet you both without prior arrangement must mean that this is quite the serendipitous meeting indeed.
We literally met you
Oh,
like
both
2
of
days
you
ago.
are acquainted with the Traveler and Paimon then.
Yeah. To be fair though, like, I do feel like... Actually, have we seen any of the Archons interact with A? I'm trying to think about it. I guess, you know, she was kind of like that stand-in. There was a lot of... I was super surprised at the route they took with Fontaine's Archon quest. Never saw it coming, but Farina probably wouldn't recognize them.
Looks like someone's learned a thing or two from Zhongli.
I must admit, I am a bit
I always talk about it,
surprised
but
to
they do
see
such a
you,
good job with
Traveler.
characters' eyes. There's one like super distinguishing feature about the Hoyoverse games that they've always done a good job with.
You would be well-traveled and well-connected. Since we have found ourselves in each other's company within this fertile land, allow me to take this opportunity to wish you a happy Lantern Rite.
Happy Lantern Rite,
It
Farina.
appears you have been to
I'm glad you're
Fontaine.
getting out of Fontaine.
Given your proclivity to spread good deeds wherever you go, it's no surprise that you
Does
would
he
make
know?
the acquaintance of a
Surely he
celebrity
knows,
as
right?
illustrious and celebrated
truth-
as Miss
well,
Farina.
I don't know. Maybe even the other Archons had no idea.
High praise. What I mean to say is, you flatter me, Mr. Zhongli. Although I've built up a certain following within Fontaine, it is no reflection of strength.
I'm
or
never gonna
wisdom.
forget that
I
that she
stand
flooded
before
her
you right
apartment
now
with her
as nothing more
hydrovision.
than an ordinary traveler in search of beautiful scenery and creative inspiration.
It kind of does go to that
There's
theory though we were talking
definitely more
about
to
earlier
Mr.
today.
Zhongli than meets the eye.
About do you have to
I
like...
could tell as much from our conversation.
Oh, she maybe
earlier.
has known something.
Given his breadth of
But that
knowledge
you like
in
maybe
both
have to train
academic
your
and worldly
vision like you
matters,
would with like a weapon
there's no
or a
way
muscle.
He hasn't heard about what happened in Fontaine. Is he
Eh.
just feigning ignorance for my benefit?
No. Yeah. You're no common tourist. I simply won't have you talk about yourself that way.
Oh, does that mean Hu Tao also knows?
You may not have heard, friends, but
Miss Hu Tao.
Miss Farina is now one of my esteemed clients.
Oh.
Yep.
Was that a cannon shot? Maybe that was just the sound effect.
Okay, you win.
Oh, hey, there's a
Guess Paimon
event in
will
the
have
back.
to break into the hidden stash at the bottom of her shoe.
What?
What's this about winning something? Don't tell me. You two were placing bets on us?
Again with just the throw under the... She just points her finger. Just immediately. Oh, no.
I saw you guys standing on the side of the road and couldn't help but take guesses as to what you were talking about.
Oh, I see. That means you, my friend, must have guessed that I was trying to promote my business to Miss Farina.
I don't know if that's a well you know me situation so much as a well we know you.
That I do, my friend. What was Paimon's guess then?
Paimon thought Zhongli was showing the newbie around.
By newbie, you mean me, right?
Well, have you been
If
to
that's
Liyue
the
before?
case, then Paimon's guess was also
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Mr. Zhongli was telling me about some great sightseeing spots in the area.
You see? Paimon was right too. Since
We were
both of
right
our guesses
first.
were right, there can't be a winner or a loser. Hey, don't be upset, traveler. How about this? You buy Paimon a bowl, and Paimon will also buy you a bowl.
The same as just buying one.
As for the third bowl,
Since I was the subject of the bet, perhaps it should go to me. You know, as a congratulations for the huge deal I just struck.
Yeah, sure.
I was just joking. Anyway, I should be the one treating you.
How much do you
You and
charge
Carlos
for a
must have been
coffin?
in quite the sum
Hold the
after all.
phone.
oh, Paimon almost forgot to ask about the most important question.
Hmm.
Something happen recently, Farina?
I wonder.
Huh? What do you mean?
With you enlisting
Oh.
the services of
Yeah, we
Lantern
really don't know all the
Rite.
technicalities behind her life being extended, do
well,
we?
Yes.
Really? Oh no. Paimon is so sorry for your loss. Although Paimon may have not known the person, please accept Paimon's deepest.
Whoa, it's not like that, Paimon.
Oh.
Huh? But Paimon just thought, since you hired the services of a funeral parlor and all. Hey, it's not that big of a stretch.
But to be fair, it also might have just been peer
Really,
pressure.
Paimon, it's not like you don't know me. Do I look like I know anyone who would ask me to coordinate their funeral?
I don't know.
Miss Hu Tao is simply helping prepare some props for my
Oh.
film. Not too long ago,
Okay.
I read a collection of horror stories from Liyue. The content was spectacular. In
Huh.
fact, I still feel the need to sleep with
Hey,
the
horror
light on.
films are like
Uh,
a really
anyway,
popular
that's not the
genre.
point. Now that Fontaine's biggest star has returned to the stage,
I don't know what it
I
is.
figured
I've
it's
never
about
been like
time the industry enjoyed
scared
a
of horror
breath fresh
movies.
air.
It's just when they hit you with jump scares, which is funny because it's supposed to be like the cheapest part of horror, just a jump scare. But like, I'm fidgety when I'm not paying attention. Like, when I get super focused on something, it's not even hard to scare me. Like,
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hmm.
I'll have to remember that for my ad posters.
Oh, Paimon sees. That makes a lot of sense. So, did you come to Liyue just to enlist the services of Longcheng Funeral Parlor?
Well, not exactly. My original plan was to just relax and enjoy
Okay.
the sights. But then I ran into Miss Hu Tao and Mr. Zhongli, and well, you know the rest. I suppose it was meant to be.
It was a fated meeting indeed.
Zhongli sure loves his lofty turns of phrase.
as
If
metaphors.
you ask me, it's all thanks to that man who stopped to ask for directions.
You mean the other really bright blue person?
It's someone you know. Wanna take a guess? What? How did you guess that
I'm
on your
just...
first try?
Well, to be fair, Farina, not to be
Very
mean,
impressive, my friend.
there's only
Your
like
guessing
4
game
people
is
that
spot on
probably...
today.
It could have been. You know? I still like to think, though, with everything that happened, it seems like she's still pretty well loved. Just in a different way. Not as their Archon in Fontaine, but like a good film director.
I never thought Neuvillette would be the type to get lost.
Hmm.
I'm sure he didn't get lost. Even I was.
Wait, if he
able to
stopped by the
find my
funeral
way to
parlor and asked for
without any
directions, maybe
trouble.
he did meet
He
Zhongli.
was already getting ready to leave
Huh.
by the time I arrived. He just wanted to ask someone about the quickest way to get
Oh,
back
is he already
to
gone?
Fontaine.
Still, that's
Yup,
interesting.
That's exactly what he asked.
That makes sense.
This area is
That he
full
would
of
stop by and
mountains
talk to
and
Zhongli.
rivers. It's normal to not know the fastest route.
Looking at the map, though, to be fair, the only route we knew of prior to this new area, this patch, was to go through the desert and the rainforest and the chasm. So if he can go over the ocean through this town, actually, that we're in, it'd be faster.
Of course. I'm also a guide of sorts, you know? So
Yeah.
naturally, I also have a great sense of direction.
I wish I could say the same.
But
If I don't have a
speaking
GPS,
of
I'm
your
getting lost.
friend,
And even if I have a GPS, I might get lost.
he doesn't get out much, does he? No wonder. He was stiff as a
It's
board
definitely...
and
That's the
ready to
awkwardness I was talking about, though, if he met
never
Zhongli.
guessed he was here on vacation if you hadn't
You know?
told me.
'Cause he's like, he wants to be mad, you can tell in
he
his
was
voice
only
lines,
here
but then
for
he's like,
half a
oh...
day. I'm pretty sure he is the
To be
only
fair,
one who would
I think
consider
even
that
he
to
couldn't
be
be
a
mad at
vacation.
Nahida from the voice lines.
Oh, this gentleman
I think the one you
speak
could
of
be the
must
most
keep a
angry at, though, is
commanding
probably
schedule.
A.
I'm sure he does. You didn't see him, but
And
he
even
was
then, you know,
dressed like he was about to attend
I feel
some
so bad for A.
important meeting.
I've mentioned it,
It
but
wasn't anything like what someone would wear on
Miko saying
vacation.
goodbye to the yokai in her
Is
story
that
quest,
so?
and then Raiden, or sorry, A saying goodbye to Makoto was... Those were the ones that hit me the hardest by far.
Unfortunately, no. At the time, it appeared as if Director Hu and Miss Farina were having quite the productive conversation. I know matters of business can take much discussion, so I
Okay.
decided to fetch some tea for them.
What a shame. That gentleman seemed like a sophisticated sort of guy. I actually think you two would have hit it off.
Is that
I know the word
so?
for tea in Japanese, it's ocha. Though on Duolingo they say it's green tea, and I don't know why. Ocha was one of the first words they teach you. Out of like some 200 lessons, it was literally like lesson 1 or 2, it's ocha. And gohan is rice. When learning basic things like... It's actually really fun. I never thought I'd enjoy
Borrow
learning a
Miss
new language because I
Farina's
took a year of
phrase.
Spanish in high school,
Perhaps it just
and I had a
wasn't
really
meant
hard
to
time
be.
with it. I think maybe I just was
Well,
at an
with the
age that I
traveler
wasn't quite
around,
ready to
I'm
learn
sure
stuff
you'll
like
have
that.
a chance to get to know each other at some point.
But it's easier to
Thanks,
learn when
friend.
you're interested
She's
in
got more
something.
friends than she knows what to
But in the
do.
area I live in, Spanish is a really good language to know. I know, like, if you live in
Well, that's
Canada,
certainly true.
northwards of the US, a lot of them know French. I wish it was more common in the US to know
reminds
multiple
me.
languages.
If you get the chance,
I think it's just
you
different
should
when the
try
main
and
language of the
talk to him
country you
about
live in
the
is
Dongsu
English.
alphabet. Just tell him the
Because I know
Palais
English
Livonia
is
isn't going to fall apart
one of the
if he
most
disappears
universally
for
known
a few
languages.
days.
Which is interesting, because I think my dad was
Keep
telling
himself
me
cooped up all the time.
a lot of
Even
countries speak
clams
Spanish.
open their shells to let in
Hi,
fresh
Milzaza,
water
how are
every
you?
once in a while, right? If he's really that much of a stickler for protocol, he can fill out a leave of
Interesting.
absence request. He'd have to approve it himself since he handles that sort of
Does
thing
he-
now, but you know what I mean.
Does Nuflet have to fill out a leave of absence to leave? Really? At some point, if you're your own boss, you really have to, Huh. Interesting.
Seems like this gentleman is also in charge of something pretty important.
You mean like an entire nation? Hmm. The demon who controls all the paperwork in Fontaine. Hey, there's a literal, like, deity that does it for Fontaine. Jean does it by herself in Mondstadt.
Hey,
Hmm.
sounds like a pretty uptight sort of guy, all right. In my experience, a leader needs to be able to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
That also includes knowing when and what to prioritize. It seems like your friend still has a lot of growing to do.
If I
Good.
remember
Oh, I'm doing
correctly,
pretty well.
He's already
Just streaming the remaining Lantern Rite quests.
You're quite right, Miss Hutao.
Oh? Traveler, Miss Farina. Those two individuals over there.
What a coincidence,
appear
we
to
just
recognize
talked to
you.
them like 10 feet away on a hill. Also, why is there a child jumping above the bridge?
Hey, over here! We saw you all chatting over here, and we're wondering if we could join in.
Please, excuse the interruption.
Oh, so polite. No apologies necessary. Any friend of the Traveler and Miss
Yeah,
Farina
well.
is a friend of mine.
At this point, the Travelers met
Ah,
a
straight to the
ridiculous
point.
number of people.
I like it.
I am super excited for Natlan, just because of all the nations, I don't really know what to expect from it. Your favorite character in game? I mean, my favorite character in Genshin's been Miko for a while. How about you? I suppose some of the more misguided ideas. She's champion duelist.
It's getting late. If we want to catch a boat back before dark, we should probably get going.
Indeed. Then, Miss Farina.
Oh, yes?
So did Frida come out here by herself, though?
Back? Do you need us to escort you?
I'm surprised, and it does seem like Cloran doesn't look after Farina as much, but
I don't think that will be necessary.
I think it's still wholesome that she looks out for her a little bit.
You're not my subordinate anymore. You don't need to look after me.
I didn't mean it that way. It's normal for
Klee. Oh, Klee's always been a good one. I love the Golden Apple Archipelago. Oh, tongue twister. I don't know if they're gonna do another one this year, but I don't think anyone doesn't like Klee.
Just like in those ghost stories. 8 paths converge in a wood. Beside
this?
them an old house is stood. If you dare to go inside, not a soul will greet your eye. But if you take a closer look, there may be something you
That is terrifying.
A candle flickers to and fro, yet there is no wind to make it so.
Farina just said she was afraid of the ghost stories and having a hard time sleeping. And Hu Tao hits her with this.
Where mystery screams.
Oh, jeez. To be fair, I think Hu Tao says she also really likes hanging around Zhongling because she's easily scared.
Of course.
Gotta say, Farina, you are really quite the character. By the way, did I hear you mention that Clorand used to work under you?
Yeah, she's a champion
You must
duelist.
have also been a leader at some point.
Oh, I guess she did kind of let that slip.
All in the past now.
I'm actually surprised that more people aren't aware of
It
the situation. Because it's like a nation-shaking incident.
Things are now. I can come and go as I please, and get to enjoy the sweet taste of freedom.
I see.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a leader.
Certainly picked an apt place
I don't
to
necessarily
relax.
mean that as like, oh, I like to be a follower, but it's more just like, I like walking to the beat of my own drum and doing whatever I want. When you're the leader, you're tied down, you know, a little bit. I guess to be fair, you know, that's, everyone needs to have a job, all that stuff, but I don't like the responsibility of being in charge of other people. It makes me nervous. Because when when the consequences of my own actions are just on me, that's one thing. But I never want to affect other people negatively.
I've learned a lot too. Thank you so much, Miss Hu Tao and Mr. Zhongli.
It's fine. You thanked us more than enough already. The next time you're in this neck of the woods, I'll treat you to some dim sum in the city.
Dim sum. Is that some kind of Liyue term for
You know, actually though, I don't
snacks or
think I've ever tried dim sum.
They are a part of it. It's basically a table full of as much tea.
My mom and my sister are really good at making like Korean dishes though.
So it's
Super cool stuff. Actually, for Christmas, my sister brought me like some really cool like stuff from Korea. It's so good. Just hard to find in the U.S. unfortunately.
looking forward to it then.
You have to go to like a specialty store. It's interesting to see though, because I've seen like a lot of the people who go, like a lot of people do like shorts or videos for cuisine from different places, and people will go to like Japan and they'll have like authentic American food, right? And it's just interesting to see how it's probably like the exact opposite. Just makes you wonder, right?
Of course
cool to
I
see
am. I
how
bought
things
tons
are
of
around
fun
the
things
world.
to bring home with me. A kite, a parasol, a little tin frog that jumps. Oh, and a stuffed toy of a mythical beast. Chlorand is the one who didn't buy anything for herself.
So, all you're bringing back with you is that tea?
And some tea-flavored hard candies.
For Siegeween.
They're for Siegeween.
I wonder if Siegeween will be
Chlorand isn't much of a shopaholic.
playable.
Well, one of us has to practice restraint.
I still can't tell if these are actually, these two are
Reckless
becoming
with my
friends.
Laura. I'll have you know, all the purchases I made today were well within my budget.
I budget really hard because, you know, it's easier to budget when you don't have much money to work with. But, I am, to be fair, a little bad about spending money on things I'm passionate about. Like, I've spent too much money on, like, League skins in the past, back when I used to play a lot. But gaming in general is getting more and more expensive, to be fair. Just interesting. But everyone has their hobbies. Like, I've known a couple people that are super into cosplay, and it's so cool to see. But at the same time, they're like, yeah, I spent this much money on this cosplay, and I'm like, what? But then I tell them how much money I've spent on different games and my library and Steam and such, and they give me the same look.
Me?
But there's nothing wrong with, you know, as long as you can take care of your necessities and stuff, spending disposable income on what you're passionate about.
Other than that, just some bits and bobs, you know. A little bit of
Anyway, sorry, I know I was going on these random, like, tangents about
They should all be things
these
I
small
can
things they mention in game, but that's just kind of how I am. My thoughts get running, and I could talk all day, honestly.
Now Paimon's even more confused. If you bought that much stuff,
We joke about Zhongli and I guess Cloud Retainer, but I'm just as guilty.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
actually.
The magic
Monsieur
pockets.
Neuvillette took them with him.
Oh, cool, we just dumped them on Neuvillette.
wait, what? Why did he take them? He's not,
He is a dragon.
is he?
That's quite the imagination you've got there, Paimon. Monsieur Neuvillette just saw the amount of bags we had and offered to take them back for us. I
Okay.
felt a bit bad at first.
I'd
but,
love to see, like,
I really
Zhongli
did have
or
lots of
Neuvillette's
stuff.
actual, like, you know, draconic-like
He even
transformation.
offered to deliver my gifts
I wonder
to
if that'll
Fortress
ever
of Millipede
happen.
for me once he's done with the day's work.
Hmm.
Neuvillette is a man of his word. If he says he can do something, then he means it.
I like
See,
Clorand.
even
I actually really
Chlorand
do
was
like
happy to take
Arlecchino.
him
It
up on
just,
his offer.
because of everything all the
If
other
even his
Harbingers have
trusty
said,
subordinate agreed, then who
you
was
can't
I
help but
to
feel like a
refuse?
somewhat underlying
Wow,
sinister
he
tone to
seems
what
like
she
a
does.
real gentleman.
But overall, like, her actual
He's not
influence
as
in
uptight as
Fontaine
he
was very
was.
positive.
If only the funeral
I guess
parlor
she
had an
scared
employee as
the actual crap
thoughtful,
out of Farina at one
proactive,
point in
and
the story, but
responsible as him. Right, Chung?
given characters like Dottore, the fact that she
Indeed.
overall did good things, even Tartaglia almost drowned Leo Harbor.
Clan said Neuvillette offered
Like,
to deliver her gifts to Risley.
is he still here?
So if we go to the entrance of
Yeah,
the
let's just
Fortress
magically
Mermaid,
go
maybe we'll run into Neuvillette.
2,500 meters away
We don't know exactly when he'll
and just
show
sit in the
up.
Fortress of Meripede. It really does make me wonder, though, again, like, canonically, how long it takes to travel through these nations, as well as are the teleport waypoints canon. Seriously, like, all the way over here. Dang. I'm sure, though, based on Neuvillette coming in, he did talk to Zhongli. It wouldn't make sense, I think, for him to go to Liyue, of all places, and go to the Wangsheng funeral parlor if it weren't for that. Unless maybe he's trying to set up the connection for, like, Farina's, I guess, prop ideas with the funeral parlor. But I really am interested to see what kind of comes of that. I think it's around, right? I haven't been here in a while. I never got around to collecting, like, all the Hydroculuses or Dendroculuses. If they gave you more stamina, I would have. Oh, there he is. But it just takes so long. Especially when you've collected a bunch of random ones. And you have to go online to, like, the maps and check off which ones you think you've gotten. And there's only, like, 1 or 2 spares, I think, in each nation.
Look, it's Neuvillette. We lucked out.
Mhm. Neuvillette.
Oh, it's you. It has been some time since our last meeting.
Yeah, did you have a good
Few
chat with
people
Zhongli?
frequent this
Were you
location.
judging him?
Since I was able to conclude my work early for the day, I thought I might take a walk and avail myself of this area's peace and quiet.
You call this early? Do you always work this late, Neverland?
We know a lot of workaholics in Genshin.
Strictly speaking, that depends
I mean,
on the agenda
Kuching,
for the day.
Jean, Ganyu, just
I
to
am
name a
hardly
few.
bereft of time, however, so working late is of little consequence to me.
That is also fair.
If you have so much time
When
on
you
your
live a
hands,
ridiculous
then
amount of
why
time,
don't you go to Chaoying Village for half a day?
you know, things like time constraints might not feel as much.
First, I should clarify
Like,
that I was referring
you
to
might
the
not feel as much
lifespan,
urgency.
rather than the time at my disposal on any given day. Second, I was unaware you possessed knowledge of my trip to Chaoying Village.
Well, we ran into, yeah, everyone else. See, they say today, so did he take a half... You could
Thank
day
you for
trip
informing
from
me.
one nation to another?
Yes, they have been safely delivered.
I have to hand it to Clorand.
Hmm.
Just a simple gift delivery, and she has the great and mighty Udex at her beck and call.
Clorand is one of those characters, though. That for me, like, yeah, they don't have to have a good kid. I'll still at least pull C0 on them.
All right. Then
Because Yai was
I
actually
hereby
considered really
confirm
bad.
receipt
I
of the
remember
goods
pre
on behalf of the staff of the
Sumeru and
Fortress of
Dendro.
Norgate.
And even then, I didn't think she was that bad. Just off-field
A verbal
DPS, man.
receipt of confirmation?
So good.
Is such a formality really necessary for a small matter such as this?
Guess not. This quantity of tea, though, seems a little excessive for a gift, don't you think? Before you know it, they'll start accusing me of taking...
It also makes you wonder how, like, wealthy all these characters are. Like, obviously the nation, like, leaders probably don't have to worry about it, but how much does being a champion duelist pay?
Oh? Why? What happened?
It was buy 10 boxes, get half off.
Clorand specifically says,
that
do I
explains
look
it
like
then.
someone who would fall for that kind of tourist trap?
Well, go ahead and leave them to
But
me.
Nublet
I'll
absolutely
get through the
did.
stash as fast as I can.
How long would it even take to go through
You
10
have
massive
my
boxes of tea? Would it expire
There's
before
something else I'd like to give to you.
you could use it?
This is a stone slate, engraved with a symbolic design.
He gave him a rock.
While that is an apt description, it is in actuality
Oh.
a legal codex.
A legal codex, huh?
Who doesn't love a pet rock,
Before
though,
the
huh?
advent of modern writing utensils, information was
I don't know if
recorded on
people do that
stone
anymore, but I
slabs
remember as
such
a
this.
kid, they literally
Was
brought us a
legal.
rock and we painted a face on it.
Okay.
Since ancient times, the scales of justice have symbolized the fairness and impartiality of judiciousness.
They do say, you
As
know,
a tribute to that
justice is
sentiment,
blind.
This slate was designed after a traditional legal codex and engraved with a symbol instead of text. During my travels recently, I chanced upon a roadside stall offering tourists the opportunity to try their hand at the ceramic
Ceramics, huh?
arts. So I decided to have a
There's
go.
so many, like, cool arts and crafts out there in the world.
We joked with Clorand some time ago about gifting you a legal codex. So, here you go.
I think Nouvellette actually specifically says she's not as, like,
So
rigid
that's what this is about.
as Clorand appears to be. I think she's just very
I
professional
did not expect you
when
to
she's
remember
going
it
about
as
her
well.
normal business.
In any case, I hope this can be considered as a reasonable attempt to join in on the banter.
It is a very good attempt. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Even your sense of humor centers around the law. That's an impressive
no.
level of commitment. Well, a gift of this significance deserves to be put on display, and I know just the place. Front and center
Oh,
in the
boy.
fortress's showroom.
Surely there's no need for such a...
It's a gift
grand
from the
gesture.
Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
Just
There's
think,
some weight to that.
I don't have anything like a showroom,
You could make one.
but we do have
All
a
you have to do is put a
storage room.
plaque on the door even and just say,
It
this
takes
is
a
now
lot
the
of
Fortress of
mechanical
Maripete's
seeds
showroom.
collected.
What? Is someone going to tell you you
That
can't
sounds
do
good
it?
to me.
I really do hope eventually we see, like, the full story of how he kind of worked his way up through the fortress.
Indeed. Of course, while I was there, I also took the opportunity to taste the local spring.
Oh, he's a water
The
connoisseur.
aftertaste is much purer than what I have delivered to me in Fontaine. It stands to reason that the long-distance transport has a tendency to imbue the water with extraneous emotion. If you want to experience the true flavor, you simply have to go to
Genuinely
the source.
though, if you've ever had the chance to, like, I keep talking about the mountains where I live, but like going to like actual springs, it's a crazy thing. Like where it just actually comes out of the ground in nature. Like it is strange because it doesn't taste like, it's maybe not the safest thing, I guess, because it's not treated, but you know. I went to a couple places like that with family as a kid. It's so strange because, like, where I live, we have well water, literally. And you go into the city and the water, by comparison, I think tastes terribly. But my sister lives up in, like, Oregon as a nurse, and she says, like, half the time the water there, they don't even drink. They drink, like, bottled water.
Then we are
Like, water's something that you would think is just, like,
my desire is justified.
it's water, but it's just not.
If you say so, but you know you don't have to justify a vacation, right? You can just take one. After all, you're hardly bereft of time. You can do whatever you want.
You're quite right. I suppose I suffer not from a lack of
Lack of
opportunity,
inspiration, huh?
rather a lack of inspiration.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's what I personally suffer nowadays. It's not that I don't have time to stream most days when I don't have, like, schoolwork. More that I just don't even know what I'd stream.
For the morning, I decided to depart at once.
Like, I really am looking forward to Hades 2. But it's kind of why I keep falling back on Across the Obelisk for now, because it's just a game I can continually play, and I don't get bored of.
My spontaneous
I still play
outing
The
seemed to
Binding of
inspire
Isaac
quite a
too,
few other
funnily enough.
spontaneous decisions as well. Take, for example, my foray into ceramics. At first, soil from the ground is granular and unforgiving, but add the right amount of water, and it becomes soft, moldable, and able to take shape. In the past, I never thought about how quotidian vessels
Seems
were
Nivelette
crafted.
likes his metaphors too.
Now, I have participated in their very making. This is also something I made today.
Is it like a ladle for your your water tasting adventures? That's neat though. Is that what his dragon form looks like?
That's a ladle?
It is not what I would have guessed.
Some long-necked sea creature.
That was indeed
Oh, hey, Auntie
one
Dupe,
of
how
my
are you?
inspirations. Really? You like it? To
He sounds
tell
so
you the truth,
surprised.
Given your unexpected arrival, I find myself quite unequipped to give you the welcome you deserve. Around such an
Oh, I'm
important
doing pretty
holiday
good.
such as this,
I just kind of saved up all of the Lantern Rite quests after the first one and figured I'd play him today.
this is all I can offer. If you'll have it, that is. That is precisely why it would do
Yeah.
me such a great
It's your
honor
special
if you
water
accept.
ladle.
You are most welcome. Happy Lantern Rite.
I wonder though, is it only Liyue that celebrates Lantern Rite? Like, there's like Mondstadt specific holidays we've been to and such.
That sounds like it could easily lead to a
But it
vicious
doesn't mean you
cycle of
couldn't celebrate in
self-indulgence,
other places, right?
Something which couldn't be in further violation of protocol.
Hmm.
But I suppose I understand her point. My proclivity to refrain from personal outings does in part originate from a sense of responsibility toward my duties. But it is also due to a lack of desire to engage in the human world.
There are a surprising number of characters in Genshin that struggle with that.
Indeed full of many interesting places
That
to
was like a
discover.
huge part of Ganyu's character development, you know? Got a ladle. Leave Xiaoyang village. Wait, is this the world quest? Is that the end of the Lantern Rite? That's not how I... Oh, no, this is probably it. You finally got... You got C4 Cloud Retainer? How good is she? I have a C0, and I haven't finished raising her because of... the gems. Also, I've been running short on these somehow after all this time. But is C4 a big breakpoint for her? Using Skyladder 1, 2, 3 times during White Clouds at Dawn. Honestly, the constellations in all these characters tend to be pretty high value. Like, just any 5-star in general, even 4 stars, right? If there was a character I'd go for C6, though, it probably would be Miko. Yeah, I have C3 right now. Electro damage bonus. I mean, she's used really heavily in Quicken comps. level of, I think that's old, and that's actually crazy. Though, like, stuff like, I know Raiden in particular, her C2 is where she gets a ridiculous amount of damage upgrade just because ignoring defensive stats. Yeah, so are you pretty invested in Cloud Retainer? Have you got a comp you're using her with? Because I really haven't looked up what I'm going to use her with. Xuanxu? Storyteller Xuanxu. Oh, that was fast. Beautiful Night, Lantern Rite, Flaming Lights once... Right, not yet, but I'm invested. Hey, that's fair, you know? Whenever you decide you like a character, there's nothing wrong with investing in them. Did you end up getting her weapon, or are you mostly invested in the constellations? I know people actually, like, mathematically calculate out, right, like, what each one makes a difference of. I know 5-star weapons compared to, like, the R5 4-star base is usually, like, 20 to 30%. But it's weird, right? Because, like, Raiden's C2 compared to C1 is, like, a ridiculous difference. Got R5 for weapon, but that's why you're going for C6. Hey, fair. Like, honestly, my MO with these characters is usually, because I'm, like, a Woken Battle Pass player, I get C0 on, like, their first run and maybe their weapon, and then if I really like them, I'll invest later. Like, for me, that's what I did with Yelan. Miko's really the big exception, but still. You'll have a strong Cloud Retainer then. And most Animo characters are just strong in general. Getting a C6 R5 support, I feel like, is a good way to go, too. Like, if you have C6 R5 Kazuha, ugh. I can't imagine anything standing in your way with Swirl comps. She was drinking? That's... Yeah, I don't know what it is, those Swirl comps. Anything that can proc Swirl is just... I think that is why Kazuha feels a little bit better than Venti, though, is unless you really need that extra crowd control. The debuffing potential of Kazuha is unmatched, I swear. And to be fair, you know, there's still a couple more big nations. You'll have a chance to get more cons if you aren't able to get her now. The only C6 4-star I don't have is the characters that come in a specific... Yeah, that is fair. I think we were talking about that yesterday, weren't we? With, like, how Sara, and I think you mentioned... I didn't know Kabe was going to be specific to, like, Al-Haytham banner, but... Sara in particular is, like, a notorious one, right? Yeah, I used to have... I have C6 for most of the older 4-stars. It's just over time I kind of was like, eh. Unless it ends up being... Yeah, unless it ends up being a character I really know I'm going to use. I don't usually end up going for their cons early. But that's kind of the big benefit, I think, for a lot of people with 4-stars versus 5-stars is the ability to get more cons. Because seriously, I know, like, C6 Xingqiu, I want to say, is even stronger in terms of the role he fills than Yelan. I'm trying to think, do you know of any other, like, specific banner characters? I'm trying to remember if there's any other than those two really tied to 5-star banners. Because obviously there's, like, 4-stars that are really good at supporting specific 5-stars, but I can't think of, like, just off the top of my head, you know, who's tied to what banner. But now let's try out the last little activity here. Eugene is C6 and R5 on Mistbush, just like 100 kgs. You know, people always joke about Chi-Chi, but for me, Jean as well is the one that I just always get. I don't have Mistsplitter. I just haven't rolled on many weapons recently. They do make a big difference, but for me, I'm trying to remember what banners I pulled on. Like, my main team for a long time involved Kokomi as a healer. You know, I have Hu Tao weapon. But yeah, I haven't pulled on too many weapon banners over time. I do think when Chlorand and Arlecchino come out, they are two of the characters I'm considering pulling their weapons for.
Wine.
100k off Jean. He's really underrated, though. Like, the standard banner characters in general still are, like, they have good utility. Cunning plans picked up. Okay. Interesting. There wasn't, like, a super big combat event this year. I mean, they had 4 character quests and only 3 events this year, but still. Yeah, I don't know. How good is Mistsplitter, though? I know it's considered one of, like, the best swords out there. It just depends, right? Like, part of the reason I pulled on... Who do I main? So most of the time I'm a Raiden Eula main. It's only recently that I've been playing this comp, because I do like Navia. How about you, though? I'm assuming at this point you're going to be pretty invested in Cloud Retainer comps, but... I know Raiden Eula isn't, like, the best place to use Raiden. But... to be honest, like... I usually just throw in, like, a Hu Tao, Zhongli Yelan comp for... Yeah. Like, for Spiral Abyss, I'll usually run Hu Tao comp on one side, and I'll run Raiden Eula on the other, and it's usually fine. But I've been meaning to try out more comps. I've been raising Diona, actually, specifically recently, so I have an Ice Shielder that I could maybe use Ganyu with. Because Ganyu, and I've heard Zhao as well, feel really bad without a good Shielder.
Every journey has its final day. Don't rush.
So don't touch the red ones. Cloud Retainer, Zhongli, Furina, and Navia. Yeah. Like, I was surprised at how good Navia feels. Like, it's part of the reason I know we were talking about that yesterday, actually, during the Across the Obelisk stream. I maybe will pull on Albedo in the future, just because of how good Navia feels. It's weird because so many Geo characters feel very standalone. But Furina is, well, so strong. And when you run her with the Shielder like Zhongli, you can be so much more aggressive with the health drain. Like, that's not a bad comp. Like, Zhongli Navia in general just feels like a good, like, 2-part combo you can probably throw with any reaction. Oh, that's fine. What is it? Wow. I'm curious what other, like, exploration aids they'll add in. Out of curiosity, what's your second main team you use for Spiral Abyss? Because that's a big issue I know a lot of people... I mean, you seem like you have a pretty invested account at this point. But a lot of my friends that kind of... I just go through this? Oh, okay. That start out with Genshin really struggle not with just getting, like, a really good first invested team. Where am I going? I'm lost. Oh. But, you know, having a second team that you can use... I almost wish, though, that... It's weird, because, like, you don't want to, like, power creep your favorite characters, but I do hope eventually they make, like, a ridiculous shielder like Zhongli. You just have other options. There are good options out there, but most of them are just more specific than he is. Like, I've heard people don't consider Toma to be super good. But I know in, like, flame-specific teams, oh, people will use him. Where am I going? Oh, okay. Yeah, not a crazy event, but I like these little mini-games. I know some people aren't, like, the biggest fans, but they're just fun little ways to pass the time. What other rewards are there with this? Yeah, I picked Gaming. But it is genuinely cool. I know people argue about, like, what's optimal, but... Like, there are people who 36 star with, like, Amber main DPS. And that's kind of the beauty, and if you get good enough artifacts, you can play whoever you want. I've always kind of figured the way I think about it is, like, you know, the stronger characters, the stronger artifacts you get, how well you play. The more you have of one of those factors, the less, you know, hard you have to stick to one of the other ones. But, What's we got here? Speaking cunning plan, crisis adaptation, ominous lanterns before you are regularly turned into tranquil lanterns. Take this opportunity to score more points. Okay. Don't know if we'll do all of this event today on stream, but it is kind of the last little bit of the Lantern Rite. You have to go through these? Are transformed into tranquil lanterns. Interesting. I appreciate that, NTTube. I don't really mind. People can say what they would like. Actually, funnily enough, though, I swear, like, my luck's usually terrible with 50-50s. The fact that I won 50-50 on Farina and got an early Navia, and then in Star Rail as well, I got an early, what's her name? Black Swan. I swear, I'm about to get dunked on by the game. Some fireworks lanterns. Interesting. This is a fun little event, though. Not super hard, you can kind of do them all in one quick clear, but I really did enjoy. Maybe we'll do a couple rounds of the little multiplayer event they added. Yeah, for me, streaming's only ever been something that I just kind of do for fun. I used to stream a lot more when I had more time, but ever since I got back into school, you know? Something I have to be a little bit more time conscious of. Yeah, I don't know what is about this game. I swear you go on streaks where you win 50-50s and then streaks where you just can't win. But over time, I think the game's been nicer to me, I swear. I think I lost. I want to say it was 6 of my first 7 50-50s in this game. I started out really on with like a C2 Kuching. I actually used her for a while too because of that. 2 more of these? Yeah, sure. I'm surprised they kind of... I think this one, it looks like, was unlocked with the last little bit. And, so I guess it makes sense that they let you do all of them at the same time. That's nice. This feeling was a free-to-play, was getting a 10 point, you get like a sacrificial sword, yeah. To be fair, I think the sacrificial weapons are a little underrated. But, yeah, no, I feel ya. It's like the feeling of if I'm going to lose the 10 pull and not get like, you know, a good 5-star, you might as well. Yeah. I do like the sacrificial weapons. They've released some pretty quality 4-star weapons recently too. I mean, if you didn't have like a 5-star HP weapon, wasn't Zhongli using like Black Tassel, I think it was, for a long time? Just to get that extra HP? I think that's just part of just as time you get more options, you know? And that's what makes it feel really good. Did I just miss those? Oh. Yeah, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with weapon designs. The 80% damage on slimes? I know, right? Just one of those, like, as these games get on, you get more options. But, I can't remember if that's the one. I just remember for so long we are super starved on, like, HP scaling weapons. They're teleport... Oh. Yeah, I swear, like, weapons or whatever. If you have good enough artifacts, you can do literally whatever you want. I've seen just those cursed videos where people run around with like physical Hu Tao because they just put their sets from someone else on them. I still need to polish up my Eula set. The main problem with my set on her is she doesn't have super high crit rates. My Hu Tao set as well. I didn't know when I first built her. You're supposed to scale HP over attack because of the way her skill works and stuff, but gotta work on that. Yeah, you have a good one, NDTube. Thanks for stopping by. I enjoy talking to you. Don't know when I'll stream next, just because there was so much like midweek content for Genshin and Star Rail, but usually I'm around on the weekends, at least 1 or 2 days. Yeah, have a good night. What else do we have here? This fade? I always have to think too, like, on PC I think these tend to be a little bit easier. There's some things that I think are actually easier on mobile. But just movement on PC or even on controller feels really good. It was a strange change for me personally as someone who used to play on console for most of his life when I finally did switch to PC. And it's weird too now because now there's more technology as far as being able to stream from consoles. When I first started even, it didn't feel like there were super great options. I had someone ask me a little bit ago actually about if I knew of any way to stream off like a VTube model in console, and I did do some research on that. I think there is an option. I just don't know if it's the same, because the classic one most people use and I use is VTube Studio, which is a Steam app. But that's one thing too, over time, the technology to do that became much more like readily available. I learn about that a lot in cybersecurity actually. It's interesting in my classes about like open source, you know, technology or open source code and stuff. But that's about it for this Lantern Rite. It was a pleasantly decent length stream, almost 3 hours. I was surprised. Let's do maybe we'll do a round or two of this. I've really enjoyed this one. Like the one they did for the last event, I think you just kind of push things in a circle towards your goal. I didn't do well at that one. The number of times I pushed those lanterns as someone else's goal and just gave them like 50 points was actually just kind of sad. Yeah, we'll maybe do a couple of rounds of that and then call it. I'm surprised at how long. There's some decent length on those quests. I was confused after the third one what they could possibly do with the fourth quest, but it was cool to see Fontaine characters. I've always been a big fan of them kind of, you know, bringing characters to other regions, because I think it just kind of expands that lore. And I've always been one that, I'm not an expert on lore in any game, but I've just enjoyed looking into it. Even back when I played games like, you know, Magic the Gathering, there's some cool stories I didn't know about for a long time behind, like, you know, like the Planeswalkers and stuff. They have full-on, like, novels. Cool stuff. We'll go ahead and do this. There's A in the Wanderer. But other games too. Like there's, oh, I think this is the Heat one, isn't it? I know there's like full-on, there's like full-on, whatchamacallit, I'm trying to think of what the word is. It's eluding me now, actually. Oh, she got me. I'm sorry, Wanderer, I'm coming for you. He got all the T-bricks, though, there. Don't do it, I'm sorry. She's gonna do it again. Oh! Oh, Wanderer keeps beating me to these T-bricks. Oh, I didn't get her. That's awkward. Oh, and then she got me. That's one thing I've noticed with this event, is the timing. You can get someone right after they come out if you're, ow. After they come out of that form if you time it right. I'm getting it handed to me, this one. That's okay. We did really well the first couple times I did this on stream, actually. This person has 229 points. But, believe it or not, with how poorly this one's going, I've actually won every single one I've done. Off stream as well. But it's just a little fun event. I miss Windtrace, though. When that comes back out, I might just do a big stream, because it's such a fun, like, prop hunt mode. Oh, didn't get her there. Oh. Wow, I'm doing terribly this time. To be fair, I think in the super spicy wok hay, I think I've actually just eaten every single one they've thrown so far. I think this is the one though. It's the one with like the most interesting mechanics, but it's also the one that I've done the least well on. You have to like weigh out, you know, whether or not you're gonna go for T-bricks or not. Oh, I didn't hit E in time. Yeah, I did not do well this one. Oh. I do wonder though, because I think it's completely crossplay. You know, how much that matches up. Yeah, I got the card for getting beaten up. Let's do a couple more rounds. I'm actually getting really hungry. I gotta go grab something to eat. But it was a fun stream. I love the lore behind Lantern Rite. I know they put a lot of effort into like the big main story event for each patch, and then you have those fun little side events. But we'll see. I don't know if I want to queue up for Rent. I guess since we played, let's play one round of each of them. I guess this one's kind of just the normal one, but I really like this one. And I'm always surprised at how fast the queue times are for these. Like, there's always people playing these modes, like, instantly. Yeah, who do we want to play? You know what, let's actually do a round of Chevreuse. I keep talking about how much I like Chevreuse. Where is she? Did I skip past her? Am I going insane? There she is. That's Navia. As I'm holding up the other three, oops. But yeah, honestly, I'm so excited for Clorand and Arlecchino. I've heard, we're probably going to meet Capitano in that land, but I've also heard whispers that we might meet... Oh. I've also heard, like, whispers that we might meet... what's her name? Columbina in that land as well, which I wasn't sure. It's weird because you would expect, you know, a lot of the Harbingers to be concentrated in Fontaine. I mean, it only makes sense, right?
Do not attempt to resist.
They do not attempt to resist. This one I think is based around not just getting onto the platform, but getting the big coin. Oh, there it is. Oh. Latency with this mode is the one thing that kind of struggles. Not just this one, but that is the one thing that I still enjoy about Windtrace, but it's somewhat entertaining to see someone just actually, like, I don't know, instant transmission across the map. I think everything's what you make of it, though. Like, it can be really frustrating playing more like... Did he just steal the coin? Is that how that works? But, you know... Oh, I just hit this dude into the platform. Oh, wow. Yeah, that dude is having a bit of a rough time. But to be fair, I always feel a little bit empathetic about it because oh, he hit me towards the T-bird. Thanks. Because I used to have a lot of latency issues where I live. It's hard to get internet if you don't live in the city. And even then, you know, when I was at college... Wi-Fi sometimes suffered. Don't do it, I'm sorry. Ah! No, he got it. Come back. Yeah, it's a fun game mode. I'd like to maybe play some more multiplayer sometime. I don't think I'd stream League, to be honest. I enjoy that game. I play a lot of ARAM, but it's a little bit toxic. And... when I stream, I like to keep it just wholesome. Just relaxed, you know? I'm not trying to rage on stream. I don't rage much at League, to be fair, but... you know, it's a bit iffy. I enjoyed some of our Overwatch 2 streams back in the day. I don't know if I'd be able to climb back to the rank I used to be. I used to be Diamond in Overwatch 2, but we were, like, Gold when we played. And we were playing a lot of support because they separated out rank, which is a bit interesting. Yeah, let's do one more run of this one on the last mode. And then, yeah, I don't know if I'll do a midweek stream this week. Mostly just because we did it because Lantern Rite went live this week and the new Star Rail patch went live. So there's a little bit more to do. But at the very least, I like doing 1 or 2 weekend streams of like some roguelikes. The Across the Oblate streams I've really enjoyed. I just don't know if we'll do kind of what we did yesterday, where we cut runs short, just so we could do more unlocks. Because that game, some of the unlocks you have to devote an entire run to doing. We'll play Yoimiya. I like that they let you choose your character in this mode too. Because there are some characters I just don't get to use as often. Like, I like playing Yoimiya, but my Yoimiya build is just outright worse than my Hu Tao build. So I usually don't play her. But sometimes you get Spiral Abyss cycles, right, where it helps. Floor 12 in particular, I can kind of just do whatever I want, to be fair. At this point on floors like 9, 10, and 11. But it's floor 12 that I just sit there and think, what am I even going to do sometimes? Like, there's one boss in particular I know that has the Golden Wolf Lord. That makes things a little bit more difficult. Because you had to have, like, maybe it wasn't the Wolf Lord, but there's one that you had to have Geo. And it made things so much harder. Oh, do you have a bigger collection range when you're in this? I didn't realize that. This one I know they have the little speed things. Oh, wow. There's so many T bricks. I'm sorry. With this mode, it's either you or them. Or both, I guess, if you hit each other at the same time. Oh, he's coming for me. Yelan did not appreciate that, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess if you're not near someone, you should just use that and collect all of them, huh? This is another mode, though, I could imagine being much harder on mobile. Like, that's something it's easy to forget, but part of the accessibility on these games is you have to, you know, make it available on more platforms. I don't think Genshin would be too bad to play on console. I never have. Did they ever release it on Switch? I'm sure you could leak your accounts, too. But I never did, like, try mobile Genshin. And that's one that controller does feel much better on some games. Like, I could not imagine playing the Souls games on keyboard and mouse. I've tried once, and it was terrible. But, like, FPSs, once you get used to, PC controls, I really do think that FPSs feel better on keyboard and mouse just because of the extra control. Oh, they're coming for me. They got me twice. To be fair, I have so many T-bricks this time that I'm practically a piñata. How did I not get knocked back? Everyone there got knocked back. Except for me. Oh! Yeah, it's a fun little mode. I enjoy that. I like that they give little cards. Sometimes they feel a little bit patronizing. But it's funny because you could go for, like, in Wind Trace, the one where you get it for not having transformed into a prop. But Prop Hunt's one of those games that, like, I'd love to get my friend group together to play some on stream. But, like, my friend group just doesn't enjoy, like, Deceit games. I love social deduction games. We played Deceit, like, once. Lethal Company I know is really big right now. I've enjoyed it. I played a little bit of solo runs, but it's definitely a game that I think you do better with groups. Like, I played some Dark and Darker. There's a lot of fun games out there. I just kind of mention it because there's some games that it's hard for story-based games because it feels like I need to only play it on stream. Like, if I were to start up a Pokemon, I have Scarlet that I've been slowly working through. If I were to restart and do a Scarlet playthrough, I'd feel bad doing stuff off stream, but I don't necessarily like grinding on stream. And that was kind of the case with, like, my Fire Emblem playthroughs and that stuff. It felt like I needed to do everything. And I guess that's maybe my own, like, self-limitations. But that's why I like roguelikes in certain games like that, because I can kind of just jump in and do whatever. But anyways, guys, thanks for everyone who stopped by and watched the stream. I really appreciate it. I enjoy talking with you guys when you come by, and it was a fun Lantern Rite quest. I really do hope that maybe there will be a little bit more in Genshin to play. Because, again, Star Rail, that's one thing I've enjoyed, is they do have a lot of repeatable game modes. And maybe I'll do a short stream sometime, even like an hour, and do some of the mini events they do. I don't know when my next stream will be. For me, the best days are usually Wednesdays, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because of my classes. But if I get a day where I want to play something, I'll just go live. I know it'd be better for me to schedule streams and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I just enjoy streaming casually. It's so fun, and when I play games, I kind of ramble to myself anyways, but I'll catch you guys next time.